everyone, and welcome to a brand new live episode here from the
Geek
Buddies.
Hey!
Yeah.
We are back tonight live to talk about DC Fandome. Boys, it almost feels like a year ago we were doing a DC Fandome live recap. It's amazing how quickly a year can go by. It's felt quick and it's felt slow at the same time. It's crazy, but we have so much to talk about, so much to get into here. What do you guys think, like, as you think about it, like 1 year later, what are your feelings about all of this right now?
I mean, 1 year later, I feel like Kalinowski was still yelling at me yesterday on my text message. So some things never change. It was the same old. I got in a whole argument with him about light versus dark comic book content. It was lovely.
I love it.
Yeah, I think it feels like it was a year ago because it was a year ago. And luckily, things are much more open. I think we're allowed to move about the cabin much more freely.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we saw last year. I mean, thinking mainly the video games, so much stuff we saw last year that we got to see more of this year. So one day in 2022, hopefully before October, the next Fandome, those video games will have come out.
Yeah,
we'll see.
We'll see.
I mean, a big thing that we did talk about, I think, last year as we were discussing all this, was what the future would hold. And I think, with San Diego Comic-Con doing their special November Comic-Con coming up, with all signs pointing to July's Comic-Con probably being back, other conventions happening, the fact that Warner Brothers and DC still decided to go ahead with this online event, I mean, I think speaks pretty specifically to the fact that a lot of the things that happened during the pandemic are probably here to stay. I mean, I think that DC Fandome, I think they got a great response last year during the pandemic, but I think they got a really great response. I mean, if Twitter was any indication, all of us were watching live as it happened. And so I think that they got a good response there too. And so I think that we'll probably see stuff like this coming from DC and other studios for the foreseeable future, not to replace in-person content, but to enhance and add to the support the other content.
Well, I mean, a lot of people are comparing this to the Netflix to Doom event that just happened here, and a lot of people are favoring what DC Fandome did, and they drew, according to Variety, what was it, over 22 million? How many was it that they did there over the last 22? Wait, no, this is from I'm looking at it. Sorry, there were numbers here. I thought I had it, but last year it was 22 million views. I think this year it's even more. I think it's around 30 million views. They got almost 40 million views they got on this DC Fandome, and it was arguably a more condensed one, only 4 hours. It's amazing what they were able to shove into 4 hours, Michael and Shannon. I mean, we've been to Comic-Cons where 4 days they didn't shove as much content as we saw over these 4 hours. Did both of you, Shannon, I know you're writing, you get to know how it works within the studio system, but Michael, you've obviously worked in the studio system as an executive. You've been a part of these projects for a while now. What did you think overall of the presentation of how they brought everything forward here on DC Fandome?
I'm going to be careful because I know that everybody thinks I dog on DC all the time. But I do think they did a great job. I thoroughly enjoyed my 4 hours. I had a blast. I did not leave my computer the whole time. I think I want to give them credit because they did a lot with realistically very little.
Wow.
They didn't actually, not quality wise. I think quality wise, I think everything was really good. I just mean that given where things were in production, they didn't have a ton to show. I mean, we got a lot of behind the scenes footage. We got a couple like short sizzles, and they really kind of built everything out. The big thing that we were all waiting for was a 2.5 minute trailer. And look, I got a lot of thoughts on that 2.5 minute trailer. I have a lot of thoughts on everything we saw. So I think what I mean is they did do a really good job. They made it feel like a big event. Yeah. They had all the celebrities there. They had the directors there. They had Jim Lee. They had the comic book talent. I thought it was really nice that they had a lot of announcements about what was going on in the comics as well as what's happening on HBO Max and in theaters. So I think they really did do a lot, like genuinely. I'm not being sarcastic. I think they did a really nice job with, when you get down to it, in 4 hours, I don't know that we got 15 full minutes of like footage, but it was good footage that we got.
Yeah. I mean, Shannon, we both worked in theme parks. We know presentation is important. Having Dwayne Johnson come out, having Jason Momoa pre-record a video with Patrick Wilson and James Wan, having Patty Jenkins showing up, having having the Batman, having Matt Reeves talk about it, having all these people show up to present their stuff, and our Milestone, all of them coming forward here to talk about their stuff. Did you feel the presentation aspect of this pretty much they nailed it overall?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the thing that is different about this rather than Comic-Con, outside of the in-personness, is the Q&A section.
Yes.
The Q&A, and a lot of times you'll get some really great moderators like Aisha Tyler, who's just fantastic at bouncing these questions off of the panel. And yeah, I mean, I thought they did a really, really good job. I mean, there were a handful of moments where I was kind of like, oh, I'm not really into this particular part, but I'm not going to leave the couch. I'm going to sit here and watch it all. But again, it's so much different from last year, where again, we were kind of chained to our homes last year. I mean, the only time I really left my chair last Fandome was to run to the front door when my Taco Bell arrived. This time I got to kind of go for a lap around the apartment for certain aspects. Definitely the Batman trailer. I was about this far away from the screen. I mean, I was just right up against it. So I loved that they had this much involvement from the creative teams, and not just the movies, but with the television and the comics as well, and the video games. I mean, the fact that they had a pretty long conversation with Ed Boons, which granted he was there for the Injustice movie, he wasn't there for a video game. Yes. But that's the type of thing that normally I don't think you would see. So yeah, I thought overall the presentation, I thought they did a bang up job. I mean, I'll be curious in the future. Does Fandome stay virtual? Do they?
I hope so.
Do they roll the dice and try to do an in-person event? I don't know.
I feel like this is the most maximum effect you can have for what you're trying to do. So virtual makes the most sense. Having people consistently doing trailer reactions. I mean, listen, yesterday was one of the biggest days I've ever had on my channel. So I was blown away by the response to things like this. So if they can keep doing this, there's a lot of people who'd be very happy to have this virtual and this feeling of like, okay, well, we get to see all this content. We get to enjoy it as it becomes way more global. It isn't provincial to just a certain people who can pay tickets. They only get it. Everyone gets it. Everyone wants to talk about it. You own social media for like a day or 2 days. And I think it's brilliant to do it this way. And other studios, and certainly D23 would be interesting, or Star Wars Celebration, do they start to look at this possibility or look at this blueprint rather, and use it as something they can do virtually going forward with their big titles and their big projects? I think it's smart as hell. Mike, do you think this is a loss leader to do it this way?
Do you mean like it's a? Well, I mean, I think it's cheaper to do it this way than in person.
So it's cheaper for them, so they could save money in the long run and own social media.
I mean, look, what I mean, you got a blue screen. I mean, you don't have to fly actors. You're not dealing with hotel rooms. Like, so yeah, like, I mean, there's a lot of cost, like just physical cost that goes in. Now, I think that if I were them, I would probably want to continue doing this virtually, but I would sort of shift my presence at conventions to be the Fandome. Like I would have the DC area on the floor of any convention be the DC Fandome. And I would sort of brand the Warner Brothers, the DC portion of the Warner Brothers events at like Hall H or anywhere else as like, the Fandome in person. But I think the Fandome really works for them. I think it's a great phrase. Whoever came up with it is gets all the gold stars for marketing. And I think that so I think I would keep with it and stick with it. But yeah, I agree with you. I think that for a day, DC owned social media. It's all that anybody was talking about. So I mean, I think that it, as opposed to a Comic-Con, which is crowded, where the Hall H panel for Warner Brothers happens, and for that maybe afternoon, DC kind of owns everything until Marvel makes an announcement or Paramount makes an announcement, and then that it's just a steady stream of things. Right. I think this was just DC owned the weekend loud and clear. Yeah, very much so. And what studio doesn't want to do that nowadays? They're all figuring things out, how to do everything during this pandemic, streaming and what have you. We've opened the doors to these streamings, and now with this IOTC and AMPT
contract settlement, now we go forward with this idea a little more open to embrace the streaming on all sides and make it a positive thing for the studios and for everybody involved in production of these streaming titles as well. So shout out to Yahtzee, who got what they needed here, and thank God, for so many reasons. All right, anyway, we're going to get into all the stuff that happened in DC Fandome, or a lot of stuff that happened in DC. We might not cover everything, but we're going to cover as much as we can, certainly the big stuff. So as we go along, please send in your Streamlabs and your Super Chats. You see the Streamlabs address right there. Oh, let me change it, actually. We're on the different one. So there we go. There's a Streamlabs address right above my head. It's also in the description of this video, and I'm going to pin it in the chat in just a second. So start sending in your Streamlabs and your Super Chats as we go along. I'll read them on air before we go forward. And let's start with one right now before we start. This is from Cal MC. This is a bit of a tough one, but a sweet one. My wife and I started watching when you guys first did your WandaVision reviews, and we both had a lot of fun and continued watching. My wife passed away on March 13th, and the last thing we watched together was your WandaVision finale review. Thank you for the wonderful memory of her, and I have fun watching you guys. Oh, damn. Dude. Thank you, Cal.
Goodness. Wow.
Man, thank you so much, but I'm so sorry. Gosh, that just really hit me hard.
Yeah. Well, Cal, what we do here is have fun with each other, and the fact that people watch us and enjoyed our crazy banter and our fun nonsense means a lot to us. So in honor of your wife, we're going to dedicate the show to her tonight as we do this. And thank you for staying with us and being with us. And thank her for staying with us and being with us for as long as she did. We love and respect you. And thanks so much. And thanks to everybody who follows and watches us here on the Geek Buddies, because we appreciate you all madly. Shan, did you want to say something?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I'll get anything intelligible out right now. Cal, thank you so much. And that is, I'm so sorry. Yep. So sorry for your loss. But love the fact that, this is something you all did together.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That we could bring you some joy. Yeah.
One of the reasons that I love doing, in addition to talking about geeky stuff every week, which anyone who knows me knows that I could do for hours and hours and not shut the fuck up. One of my favorite things about doing this show is that I get to spend this time each week with two of my best friends. And these are two guys who have seen me at my best, but have also seen me at my worst. And when I have not been at my best, these two have been by my side. And most of the time, no matter how bad things get, they usually make me laugh. And I think I have done the same for them in the past. Absolutely. So I think the best thing that we do for each other is when times are great, it's fun to laugh. I love to make fun of both of these guys a lot. But when times are tough, it's also kind of really fun to make fun of these guys. It makes me feel better. So, Cal, if me making fun of John Rocha and his ridiculous Hayward Island theories, and Shannon McClung and his diminutive size and cowardice, if that brings a smile to your face, I will continue doing it for the rest of my life.
Wow.
I can't speak for the audience, but you definitely lost us just now.
This guy pulling a Riddler here, killing us both. All right, let's go forward. And Cal, I hope you're watching. And Cal, we love you. Thank you very much, man. And like I said, we're dedicated to your wife, but let's go forward. Hopefully we can bring you some smiles and some entertainment as well as we go along, and everybody here. I just pinned it in the chat, the Streamlabs, so send them in as many as you want. Super chat, let me bring that up around. We just got a super chat just now here from Simon's section. Greetings, my Greek brethren. Regarding the Batman trailer, do you think there's a chance Bruce Wayne will portray Matches Malone? The shot where he's wearing his sunglasses at night gives me that vibe. Yeah, it was a little weird. Yeah. The sunglasses.
I have not even thought of that, but man, we've never gotten a live action cinematic Matches Malone.
Yeah.
And Robert Pattinson doing it would really be something to see. I would love. I mean, I do know, and we'll get to the Batman trailer later on in more detail, but I do know that Matt Reeves has said, at least, and based on everything we've seen in these two trailers, I think it probably seems that way, that we are going to lean more into the detective aspects of Batman in a way that we haven't before. And tooling around in a disguise to get some information definitely falls under that detective noir side of things. So I don't know that we'll I can't say for sure, but I think that this is the best shot we got for Matches Malone.
Yeah. I will actually disagree with Vogel here. I don't think sunglasses a disguise makes. Much to the MCU's chagrin, sunglasses and a ball cap do not suitably disguise you. However,
I'm not saying that in the trailer was Matches Malone. I'm saying the concept of a Matches Malone.
You like the idea?
I think an emo-looking guy with a fake mustache going by the name Matches. We'll see. Doesn't seem like the world they're setting up. I'm happy to be wrong.
Respect. And one last thing, just to touch base. Cal is here. Cal says, thank you guys. Tammy would have loved this, and she is right here by me watching. Respect, Cal. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
and as Sean Baratel says, please hit that like button as we go along. If you haven't that like button, hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel down below. Hit that bell button as we go along. You know, I jumped up to 18,005. Let's see if we can get to 18,006, 18,007 by the end of the night by all you all watching here tonight. All right. Enough of the jibba jabba, enough of the talky talk. Let's jump into the first one, first trailer that dropped, and we kicked it off like a lot of WWE pay-per-views have done in the past with The Rock, ladies and gentlemen. Dwayne Johnson kicking off this DC Fandome event with Black Adam. You know, this is something that has been in Dwayne Johnson's mind since 2007, at least outwardly, maybe since he was a kid. The idea of portraying Black Adam, he was circling it in 2007, and then in the last few years there was rumors that it was going to be part of Shazam, and then there were rumors that they were going to go backwards in that they were going to introduce Black Adam and then use that as an origin story for Black Adam and use it to launch Shazam. But then they broke it off. Shazam has already done his thing with Zachary Levi, and we'll get to Fury of the Gods a little bit later. And this is our first look at Dwayne Johnson as Black Adam. Some interesting combination of factors here in this trailer. Some references to stuff in the comics, some changes to possible history of some of these characters that appeared in this trailer. A lot of interesting stuff, and it felt like a possible R rating, even though I don't think they're going to go down that route. But electrocuting a dude to where you crush his skeleton, that was pretty R-rated to me. But Michael, let's start with you first. What did you think about this Black Adam trailer, first of all, and what did you think about it as a way to kick off DC Fandome?
Well, I was glad we got to see some footage. I mean, honestly, I was like, are you going to show us anything? And I think it was a great look. Again, I think it was smart on their part because they clearly don't have a lot of footage.
Yeah.
But trotting out The Rock to kick things off is never a bad idea. And I think what I found really funny about the footage is he doesn't say a thing in the footage. Like, there is no dialogue from him at all. But in my mind, I went like this watching the footage. Oh, I think he's going to do all right. Apropos of nothing. I think more probably tied to the fact that given the past 2 years between the Jumanji movies and Jungle Cruise and everything else, like, I think that he has done an admirable job of becoming a more charming actor. I don't know that he has the most range in the world, but I think that he definitely is a charming presence on stage. Now, Black Adam, charming isn't exactly the tone that you would want to go for, but just seeing him in that footage and seeing him reach out and grab the guy and stuff, even without really seeing his face or any dialogue, I was like, this has been a project that I went from being like, I don't know that this will ever happen, to last year's DC Fandome being like, okay, it's gonna happen, but is it gonna be okay? And this, my level of DC expectations is still quite low across the board, but watching this footage, I was like, all right, I'm on board to give it a chance, mostly because I just enjoy watching him on screen so much. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we got some interesting references, right, Shannon? We got the crown of Kahndaq that came down. We got Sarah Shahi in here playing Adriana Tomas, who is Black Adam's wife, but clearly they're going a whole new direction with this. We got the references of the language on the floor that initiated that lightning bolt that brought Black Adam back. So what did you think about what we got in the trailer here and about the fact that Dwayne Johnson didn't speak? That's a rarity where you have a lead actor, a guy like The Rock that can shake mountains across the world, not speak in his own trailer verbally. What did you think?
Well, again, this wasn't a trailer. Like, this was a little sneak peek of one of the opening scenes. Like, you're getting just a little peek at what the movie is. Like to call it a trailer, I think is a little misleading.
Okay.
From the beginning, I do agree with you. Like, getting The Rock out there front and center, that makes perfect sense because no matter what you think of his acting ability, the guy just exudes charisma. Like you can't not watch him now. And I love that we got to meet a little bit of the Justice Society as well, that we got to see a little bit of Pierce Brosnan's Dr. Fate. We got to see all of the insignias of like Cyclone and Hawkman. I was really hoping to get to see Aldous Hodge. Like that was the one I wanted to see him in costume. That was the one I really wanted to see. And the fact that the movie is coming out in July, I have to think that a trailer is not that far behind.
Yeah.
But I mean, I texted Vogel a couple of times yesterday, just like goateed Pierce Brosnan as Kent Nelson. I was like, to me, that is just the coolest thing ever. Right. The scene I thought was great. I mean, that's a great opening look at your protagonist. I mean, I love the concept art. I mean, Kahndaq the scale is huge. Yeah. Where this ultimately fits in the larger DC universe, that is a big old question mark. And also a lot of it is going to depend on The Rock's performance. Now, again, incredibly charismatic guy. As an actor, I think he has gotten progressively better over the years. His dramatic work in Snitch is still I mean, it's up there with the best of his filmography. Will that translate to this? We'll see. I mean, normally I would not think it was strange that for this clip that you didn't get to see, or you didn't get to hear him speak. Right. But because, I mean, this is going to be the biggest stretch for him thus far. I'll be really curious to see how this turns out. I mean, a lot of it rests on his massive worked out shoulders. Yeah.
Mike, you want to say?
Well, one thing I'm just going to say this now. So, I mean, I'm sure I will say this 1,000 more times, but I'm going to say this now to try and not keep bringing it up. But I do think one of the things that just struck me throughout the fandom was the constant question of where things fit and how they fit. And again, this is something that Marvel doesn't have to deal with and DC does. Now, I talked to some friends of mine who actually straight out said after watching Fandome, I actually love that they are not as uniform as Marvel, so that you can have really weird things like the Aquaman animated, and you can have Naomi on the CW, and you can have this there, or on HBO Max or wherever it's going to be, I think on the CW. And you can have all these different things going on, and it doesn't all have to necessarily fit because it gives you more freedom. So I freely admit that this is a me thing. It is not a right or wrong thing. There are a lot of people that love the variety that DC is giving them versus what Marvel gives you. But I do think there's just a constant question of, oh my God, I'm so excited for Batgirl. What Batman is going to be in it? Oh my God, I'm so excited for Naomi. Is this the TV Superman? Is this the Henry Cavill? Like what? Like there's just so many questions throughout that I think there always is. And it's the same with Black Adam. I mean, obviously it's going to be tied to Shazam, but are those two movies tied to the other things? And so I think that is a constant question that I'm hoping post the Flash movie, post Flashpoint, there's kind of at least, and the answer doesn't have to be it's all one universe. The answer can be like there's 15 universes, and this is what we're doing, and that's totally fine too. But I think some kind of answer, even if it's an answer that allows you to continue to be as varied as DC is right now, I think would be good.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, I love the first look we got. I enjoyed it. Yeah, you're right. I shouldn't call it a trailer. Good point, Shan. It's a first look for sure, because it was the entire thing was like 4 minutes and 8 seconds. The footage we got was like 1:23. But it was a great introduction. See, The Rock, and that's the power of The Rock. And I thought this is brilliant, actually, when I think about it. They didn't have him speak. He spoke with his actions. He spoke with his physical body, his appearance, his look, and him crushing that dude. That's a way you speak in a way. And you're like, well, is he going to be a villain or is he not going to be a villain? We don't know. Is he going to be an anti-hero? What's the point? Because when you cast The Rock and you call it Black Adam and you're making it the protagonist, with the Joker, even with Joker, they found a way that you could feel some sympathy for Joker if you wanted to. You didn't have to. And certainly a lot of people maybe didn't. But the avenue was there, and it seems with Black Adam, they're opening the door to make him seem, yes, he does evil stuff, but he can also be somewhat likable, somewhat charming. You can like, and I'll say this one last thing, Mike, I know you want to jump in real quick. This is what The Rock did in WWE. He was such a heel after he tried to be a face, and they made fun of him, and they booed him out of the stadium. He went away for like 6 months, came back, and he was the most arrogant piece of crap ever, and it worked, and it got over like crazy, and people loved him, and he got over so much that they wanted him to become a hero again, and he became a hero, but an anti-hero, which means he still had the heel tendencies, but he was so charming and likable and did the right things that he's a hero. And I feel they might be doing the same thing with Black Adam. Sorry, Mike, what did you want to say?
No, actually, I'm glad that you said that, because that's perfect. I think that it's been a while since I've read some Shazam, Black Adam comics, but as opposed to other villains like Joker, Black Adam, an arrogant asshole, is kind of the right vibe. I mean, he's very much kind of, to me, in the way that I think of Black Adam, he's kind of like DC's version of Namor. Like, even though he's more on the villainous side, but he's a guy who's going to do what he wants to do and what he thinks is right and fuck everybody else. But he's not straight up like a psychopathic bad guy, or I want to watch the world burn, or I'm going to destroy everything. He just thinks he deserves the power because he's the greatest person in the world. So the whole idea of sort of the arrogant heel into the anti-hero kind of fits very well with what I think the vibe that most people who like Black Adam feel it should be. So if The Rock can bring what he did in The Ring into that, given all of the acting chops that he's sort of gained over the year, it could actually work. Yeah.
And Shannon, go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say, when Vogel said The Ring, I'm like, with Naomi Watts? I'm like, oh, the wrestling ring. I don't remember him being.
That's something else completely. You're absolutely right there. Well, we saw him stopping bullets. We saw him, as we said, electrocute a guy. Then we saw him take flight. I mean, the shot of the feet rising and then seeing his presence and the cloak, which is a kind of a New 52 reference, all of that kind of coming together was a fantastic introduction to this character. And you're right, maybe there's not enough that's been shot there that they would feel comfortable releasing some semblance of a cohesive trailer from. And there's still, you can still, if you have your issues with The Rock and wondering if you can pull this off, you kind of still might have those issues right now, even though this was a pretty badass minute 23, because you actually didn't see him speak. You actually didn't see him interact verbally with other people who might be lead parts of this film, including, as Shannon mentioned, Aldous Hodge as part of this thing as well. So that could be something you hold on to as we go forward. We didn't see Quintessa Swindell. We didn't see Noah Centineo in this minute and 23 that we got. So we didn't get much of his interaction with the Justice Society of America at all. So you wonder what it's going to be like once we get a full scene with all of them there, and you have a better idea of Dwayne Johnson's approach to this character of Black Adam. Yeah. I mean, the shot of him vaporizing that guy and then the skeleton literally crumbling. I mean, like the tone is set. This looks badass. And hopefully we get the trailer soon. Again, I was crossing my fingers that we would have gotten a trailer, but but we'll see. I'm sure it's coming. For sure. All right, so let's see. We got some Streamlabs that came through real quick. One from Smithy _ voice of dissent. Hey, Geek Buds, I hope to love the Batman, but there's nothing in this trailer that beats Batman Begins in The Dark Knight. I couldn't disagree with you more. Bale in the snowy mountains fighting samurai, the Joker in the police car, and how can you get darker than Scarecrow's bat vision? Yeah, what did you guys think real quick? I know we're going to get to the Batman trailer in a little bit here, but initially, do you think that there was nothing in this trailer that beats Batman Begins or The Dark Knight?
What? I mean, it's different. It's totally different. Just from a cinematography standpoint, it's just shot through a different lens. I don't think of it as a competition yet. I mean, I don't think you can judge the movie on the just based off of the two trailers that we've gotten.
Right.
I think it looks like it's going to be a really interesting Batman story. I mean, they definitely explore things that have not been explored to the fullest extent with his cinematic adventures in the past, but we'll talk about that more when we get to the Batman.
Absolutely. Mike?
I know what you're saying. I don't fully disagree. I think that coming out of that Batman trailer, I was like, I'm very, very excited. I'm very, very curious, but also we've had so many versions of Batman now that I think as opposed to me coming out and being like, holy shit, this is the end all be all of Batman trailers. I'm like, okay, I really dug all this, but what really is going to be new? And I know that Matt Reeves talks a lot about like, this is sort of Bruce Wayne figuring it out, and there's a lot of things going on, and like Riddler seems super creepy and scary, but you know, we've had sort of the gothic with Tim Burton, the fantastical with Joel Schumacher, the grounded with Christopher Nolan, and this seems like it's somewhere in the middle somewhere. And so I think that this doesn't feel so much like a complete bold new direction, but I'm hoping, and I think like what I pulled from the trailer is I think this is going to go deeper. I think as much as we loved what Nolan did with really grounding Batman, it feels like this is going to get into some psychological shit. Is like that's what it feels like. It feels like Seven to me. I mean, like I think the thing that I came out of this feeling is like this trailer feels icky and humid and sweaty and anxious and upset. And those are not things that I like feeling personally, but for a movie to give me that vibe, I'm like super into it, if that makes sense.
It's the Seven and it's Seven and the Crow mixed together with Matt Reeves' sensibilities and a cinematic approach. I mean, this is I said this in my trailer reaction. I felt the same way coming out of this trailer as I did when I saw the Joker trailer. The Joker trailer to me felt like this is a 1970s approach to a superhero done at the highest level that you can approach it. It felt like a Scorsese film from the 70s. It felt like that kind of homage. And I feel like this film was an homage to the best of what you could have done in the 90s when it came to this kind of approach. So I appreciate that. And I love that. So I have to disagree with you, Smithy. I think what we saw in this trailer, if they reach what we saw in this trailer in the whole movie, I think it's going to blow away Dark Knight and Batman Begins, in my opinion. Yeah, Shannon, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I mean, the word that popped to mind as Vogel was talking about, just the, sort of the visceral feeling that it got. I mean, for me, it was grimy. Like this is a grimy Gotham City. Like Nolan, especially with the Dark Knight, got some criticism that Gotham City is essentially just Chicago. Whereas this Gotham City feels like something more from the comic. But again,
greasy.
All right. We're gonna put your dick in the dirt. All right, let's move on to our next thing. I like that, greasy. I like it. Actorus Alcor here sent one. He says, "Love to hear your different thoughts on all things geeky and social discourse." Oh, thank you, Actorus. We appreciate it. Keep sending in your Streamlabs and your Super Chats as we go along. Let's jump into Michael Vogel's favorite part of DC Fandome, The Flash. Grant Gustin was here to talk about or sleepwalk through the presentation of the new season of The Flash. He's getting his yellow boots. We know he's a dad with these two kids. I mean, I know I don't want to go to Michael again, but I kind of have to here, Shannon. Michael, you were the one that was texting us about this as we were separately watching it in our homes. What did you think about Grant Gustin's presentation? You even tweeted about it, to be fair. So what did you think about this whole thing?
I just wanted somebody to check on him. He looked really bored. I wanted someone to give him like a Snickers bar or something. I don't know. He looked really, really not into it. Look, I get it. I think that we're in a really interesting time because look, The Flash has been how many seasons now? I mean, what are they going into?
8.
Season 8.
That's
so look,
insane.
In Grant Gustin's defense, anybody almost a decade into a job is going to be like, oh, this shit again. And The Flash has kind of run its course. I think this is where the DC shows are really interesting. Like, because we have the Marvel Disney Plus shows, because we have a Green Lantern show and a Peacemaker show and these shows coming out on HBO Max, and we have a Batgirl movie and a Blue Beetle movie. Like the CW shows, I mean, I know they talked about the Smallville 20th anniversary, and like when Smallville came out, like we didn't have superhero shows like that on TV. Like that was for a superhero nerd to have a show like that. That was amazing. Yeah. And all of those shows kind of moving forward, hold on, I'm getting a phone call and I'm going to hang that up.
Okay.
All of those shows moving forward in that CW Gustin. Kind of TV. Yeah, Grant Gustin is pissed. He's calling me.
What you say about
me? He's calling me right now.
You're lucky I can't run as fast as the Flash.
But with Arrow done and with Supergirl wrapping up and with Flash kind of doing what it's doing, it's like I think that era of that superhero show has kind of like left us behind.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right, Mike. The 8th season of Arrow was, you were like, okay, can we go Can we be done with this thing? And it seems to be the course of these CW shows, don't you think? Like 8th season, and then you're just kind of, we're good. We've explored what we can explore here.
Well, and I think also we're just past, and I mean, this is bigger. This is a bigger thing about network television, and I'm sure we'll talk about this on Geek Buddies in the future. But I don't know that we're at the point where any show is an 8-season show anymore. Like, we really like knowing a story has a beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah.
And this idea of a show that just kind of goes on for season after season after season after season, like, I don't know that that's what we have the appetite for right now. We love a 9-episode WandaVision. 8-episode Loki, 9-episode Loki. What was it?
Six.
A 6-episode Loki. So like having like 8 26-episode seasons, I just don't know that that's where we are anymore. And so I'm interested to see. I think that I'm a big fan of Superman and Lois. I thought its first season was spectacular. So I think that TV team and Berlanti and everybody, like, they've definitely got a lot of great story in them. It's just going to be interesting to see how they veer. And so as much as I was making fun of Grant Gustin's boredom, I don't completely fault him for it. And as much as I loved Flash when it started, I too am ready for him to finish his race.
Fair enough. And we'll see what happens. Did anything stand out, Shannon, to you from this presentation, from what we got from Grant Gustin? I mean, are we just kind of like, let's just get through this season and let's see where Grant shows up next? Could it be in a sequel to The Flash down the road? Is that possible?
I mean, the fact that most of the presentation hinged on new footwear kind of tells you all you need to know. I mean, what and Vogel already said this, but what
he was like this. How are you excited about those gold boots? I am so excited to wear those golden boots. Oh God, those golden boots.
I mean, what the CW DC shows did is they ushered in kind of a new age of television. But multiple seasons of over 20 episodes a season. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, it's hard for the actors. It's hard for the writers. There was a show that I was on several years ago that I recurred on, that it was entering its 5th or 6th season, and the lead actor, who I won't talk about because I didn't like him, but the lead actor was having to go to New York to do one of the talk shows, one of the late night shows.
Right.
And he was complaining up a storm because he was like, how much more can I say about this? Either you watch the show or you don't. Like, why are they making me do this? And so after a little while, I mean, you know, Stephen Amell, Grant Gustin, when they first started doing these shows, of course they were through the roof.
Right.
But like any job, and you know, it is a job for them. Like any job, after a little while, you get tired of it. And like, if you're lucky enough to be able to transition to a new position or a new career, fantastic. But like, these guys are probably going to work for the rest of their lives now because they were the lead of their own show. They're excited to try new stuff. And so certainly, like anything, the sheen wears off.
Yeah. And certainly Stephen Amell has shown you that. Completely taking a left turn into a pro wrestling show on heels, which is getting great reviews. I haven't finished watching it yet, but I've been enjoying it. And so you kind of want to branch out. You know, I mean, at some point this becomes almost like a Disney Channel show. You're like, I got to stop talking like a tweener at some point. Like a tween. I got to stop talking like I can't have these plots between plots. How many more of these can I keep doing? And you hit that wall as you get older. You're like, I want to be challenged. Nothing against what Berlanti has built, because it's been incredible what he's built. People give Feige so much credit. They need to give Berlanti the same amount of credit for what he's done on television with these superhero shows from the WB and DC. It's incredible. And so I think but these actors age up, and eventually it's like, come on, I want something. I want a new challenge or whatever. So, you know, hopefully once Grant's done with this, we see more, because I like him as an actor. I've enjoyed him on Flash for a number of seasons before I stopped watching it, for sure. All right. Anything more?
Somebody give him an Adderall.
Oh, Jesus Christ. All right, let's move on. All right, let's move on to Shannon's one of Shannon's favorite parts of DC Fandome. That was Aquaman 2 Fury. No, not Fury, guys. That's Shazam 2, but Aquaman 2 The Lost Kingdom. Sorry about that. So many sequels in this. But yeah, Aquaman. I'm telling you, Shannon, I'm going to give my thoughts initially. I tell you what, I enjoyed this first look. It looks crazy. We've got jellyfish electrocuting people, large jellyfishes. We got homie riding the seahorses. Black Manta looks badass. Yahya Abdul-Mateen II looks awesome. Patrick Wilson going from Jesus to like shaved, good-looking dude again, and massive here. And Momoa looks like he's on the Thor diet, the Chris Hemsworth diet. He looks even bigger here, and I just enjoyed the hell out of it. You're the Aquaman fan of the three of us, the biggest one. What did you think about this as a preview for this sequel coming forward?
Well, I mean, the scope, it looks huge. I mean, it looks epic. And this was when they started to release like concept art from the first Aquaman. That was the same feeling that I had. Now, that first Aquaman, most successful movie that DC has, but like it did not check off the boxes for everyone that saw it. And I was one of them. Like, I love the fact that we got an Aquaman movie. I thought Momoa was great. I love the changes that they've made to the character to suit him for this version. I thought Yahya Abdul-Mateen was not utilized in the best way in the first movie.
Agreed.
I hope he's used better in this go around. I actually did like Patrick Wilson quite a bit in the first one, and I think they're giving him some more interesting colors to play as sort of the guy that's been exiled, and it seems like he and Momoa are going to be teaming up. We'll see. I mean, I love the scope that Juan brings to it. The action for me in the first movie got very repetitive. Like most of the action scene started with the explosion off screen. So I hope that with the goodwill from the first movie coming in, that they're able to flex their creative muscles a little bit more. I mean, again, I'm just thrilled we live in a world where not only do I get an Aquaman movie, I get a sequel to it. So I'm excited.
Yeah, and Michael, no one saw this movie making $1 billion. I mean, I think if you go back and find some old Collider movie talk, I predicted it would break $200 million on its opening weekend, and I got laughed out of the studio, and then eventually I was right. So, I mean, it made $1 billion. Incredible. You look at the Joker making $1 billion. You couldn't find two movies that were more different, except that both of them took massive swings in different directions, and it worked out for them with the fans. What did you see here that either gave you trepidation or maybe gave you some kind of excitement to see a sequel for this Aquaman franchise?
I just thought James Wan was really cute. I realized that I have a crush on James Wan. That's what I took away from this Aquaman 2 footage. Everything he said, I was like, you're cute. You're cute, James Wan. Aquaman is an interesting thing because I do not like that movie, but I really do like Momoa as Aquaman.
Yeah.
And I really generally like the entire cast of the movie. And now I have a crush on James Wan. So I think that while I don't like the first movie very much, we did our spoiler review of Venom 2 a couple weeks ago. Yeah. Venom is a franchise that I don't like those movies. I kind of despise them. I think there's nothing redeeming. Aquaman, I don't like the movie, but I also don't hate the movie. I kind of like, Aquaman is like your big dumb drunk friend who you think is kind of stupid and ridiculous, but you're like, he's kind of fun, let's keep him around. That's how I feel about the first movie. And so I'm kind of like, I'm open for the second movie. Like, if they give me all of the fun of the first movie and just ground a couple things, make them a little bit stronger, I would probably be on board. Like, I think I'm open to it. Like, I was like, all right, like, as everybody said, like, looking at some of the footage, looking at some of the concept art, I was like, that looks pretty badass. Like, there's some really cool looking things. I have no doubt that DC and James Wan and Warner Brothers can make something look awesome. So I know that it will look that cool. It's really just the story and the character and the emotion underneath that I felt was kind of lacking in the first one that I would love to see infused into whatever it is they're doing. Yeah.
This feels incredibly epic, if I can use that word to describe that, because I think the first film certainly was striving to be an epic, for considering how long it was and how expansive it was. And this one looks like it's getting even more expansive. And it looks like instead of just dropping into certain kingdoms. We're actually going to spend some time in each of the kingdoms and go through stuff and what's going on. Of course, this is based on that run in the 1980s. So a lot happened in that run in the 1980s. And we got some nice shots, Shannon, of the outfits, of the costumes. We saw pictures. We actually got to see Momoa in them, kind of moving around a little bit. Got to see Ocean Master in his outfit, Patrick Wilson in his outfit, moving around a little bit. We got to see some swinging of Tritons, Mara doing her thing, some bearded king swinging around. I don't know if that was Lundgren or who that was, but swinging around. Certainly this feels like it's going to be epic. And if you're an Aquaman fan, this is a great behind the scenes to show you, to get you excited for a sequel.
I believe that was Atlan, who we saw in flashback from the first one. So I imagine we will get another lengthy flashback to explain what the Lost Kingdom was and where it may have gone.
Yes. I only saw it once, so I didn't remember that. Go ahead.
Yes, Joseph Ashley, I am saying that there is a chance. There's a chance. A small chance, but there's a chance.
I love a raise over here too. Have faith, Vogel. Have faith.
Listen. I'm open to it, guys. I'm open to it. Look, these two are gonna make me go when that movie comes out, whether I want to or not. So I'm in, and there's a lot of very attractive things to look at in that movie. So it will not be a wasted 2.5 hours on my part. But no, I'm open. Look, I do think that, like, you know, there's a lot of casting of DC heroes that I am very clear on the fact that are not my favorite, but Momoa is not one of them. I think Momoa, from Justice League on, like, even though I have major issues with Justice League as a movie and Aquaman I don't love as a movie, I'm into him as Aquaman. I'm happy for him to play Aquaman as long as he wants to play Aquaman, and I just want the movies around him to get better.
It's amazing how many of the Snyder casts have worked out. It's amazing. Just going to put that out there. It's amazing.
I mean, 2 so far.
Come on. Ezra Miller is getting his movie. We'll
get to that in a minute.
Ben Affleck is coming back. I'm just saying. It's amazing how many of those worked out. I'm just saying. Okay. And Zack Snyder's Justice League was fucking excellent. All right, let's move on here. Anything more to say, Shannon, on this one? Are you good with did you like the logo at the end? Do you think that was a cool logo to go with? I
mean, great font.
Yes.
And Shannon McClung, he loves a good font.
Give me the good font. Give me the gold boots. Good to go.
Look, I want to like it too. I mean, I tore this film apart in when
I remember.
When we reviewed it at Collider, Perry and I tore the film apart. And so, you know, we got some pretty nasty messages for sure.
John really hates octopuses.
I mean, what the fuck? I mean, don't get Kalinowski mad. I know he's working. That's why he can't join us, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, Kalinowski is at Universal Studios working tonight, so he couldn't hang out with us like he did last year. But yeah, I mean, I can already see him. If I say octopi playing drums, he'll get upset.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Everybody loves a Marvel movie, but you put one octopus. Okay, guys.
The Ant plays rock band. That's totally cool, but it's like, it's not the same thing. But I you know, it does worry me a little bit when James says we're going to 11. So, but maybe 11 was the level that I might start to really love what he's trying to do with these films. And eventually, I am going to go back and watch this Aquaman film at some point. Maybe I'll do a watch along. We'll see.
I have some chocolates that I bought from a source that I might eat before I watch that Aquaman movie again, and I think those chocolates will make it better.
Okay, fair enough. All right, we got 2 Streamlabs that have come through. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, please hit that like button. We got over 400 of you watching us live. Thank you so much. Please hit that like button so we get above. We haven't got 200 likes, so let's break 200 likes. Let's get to 300. Let's get to 400 likes as we go along.
Let's get to 400 likes, everybody. If you're here, there's 400 of you. Go click it right now, and then we're good, and then we're set until more people come in the room. Let's just do it. Let's get out of the way. Cross it off the to-do list for the day.
All right, there you go. Let's get to 400 likes. You heard him say it. Princess Geek here sent in to Streamlab. And yeah, keep sending in your Streamlabs and Super Chats as we go along. Show some support for the show. Support for us going live to talk about all this. Send in your support here as we go along. Princess Geek says, hey, guys, don't forget, Grant is a new dad. Maybe he was sleep deprived. By the way, Vogel, you're my spirit animal. So she was trying to correct you, but also compliment you at the same time. Interesting.
I am happy to be corrected by people who also compliment me. So that's a good point. One of my best friends is a newborn dad, is a new father of his newborn daughter, and he looks like Grant Gustin a lot of the time. So that is a very fair point.
Yeah, this is why I don't have kids. All right, Carol sent in a Streamlab as well. Said, my family and I were discussing Aquaman at brunch today. Oh, really? Your whole family discussing Aquaman at brunch? Respect. The first movie looked great, so I'm sure the sequel will look just as good. However, I hope they have someone else writing the script for this next one because the dialogue was painful in the first one. Yeah, I have to 100% agree with you on that. The dialogue was rough.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that really is what it comes down to. Like, I think that the way they handled the water action, the water effects, the special effects in the movie, like I said, I like the cast. Like, there's a lot that the Aquaman movie has going for it. So, as opposed to the Venom movies, it's a movie where I'm like, it made $1 billion, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll give it to you, I get it. But yes, if they could have that stronger story, I would be very, very, very happy about that.
Yeah, Shannon, should they work on the script?
Well, I mean, the dialogue can be an issue. I think it was the second trailer where we got to see that moment of they were in the desert and Momoa talked about peeing on something.
Oh, God!
And yeah, I think that was the second trailer, and there was that moment of like my heart hurt, of like, oh no, please tell me the whole movie isn't going to be like this. And it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't.
No,
there were some I thought it had some very, very nice moments as well. But yes, if we don't get any more PP jokes, that'd be great.
That'd be great. I agree. My issue with the first movie was that Hera was already equipped to run Atlantis, and it spent 2.5 hours trying to make sure. Mira. That one letter. But yeah, Mira was already equipped to run Atlantis, but we had to stick around with Dude Bro for 2.5 hours until he figured it out. I mean, this kind of frustrated me that he wasn't played a little more intelligent. I mean, his idea is, I'm going to pee on the artifact. I mean, what's wrong with you? Have some respect for your culture, for the fuck's sake. But like, I just would like to have seen a little bit more. Yeah, go ahead. Yes.
I mean, there's a name for that movie trope. It's called the Trinity trope. Mm-hmm. Ever since the Matrix.
Oh, Matrix, right? Where it's like Trinity can totally do it.
Here is a perfectly capable woman who is awesome and can do everything, and here is the guy that cannot do the things that the woman can do, but somehow has to become the hero. So the woman will become less awesome as the hero becomes more awesome, and then say, "Hero, I love you. I think you should be the hero." And he'd be like, "Thanks, lady, who taught me everything I know." And then he goes and does it. And so yes, Aquaman definitely falls into that trope.
Yeah, I would like to redo the whole Harry Potter series with Hermione Granger in the lead. I hate to break it to you. That's my honest truth.
It wouldn't have been 8 movies.
8 books?
It would have been 3.
It would have been 1.
It would have been it would have been 1 book. It would have been Hermione takes out Voldemort at the end. Thank you very much. She graduates Hogwarts and becomes the Minister of Magic. Done.
It's a pamphlet, not even a book. All right. Simon Section says, out of all these trailers, do you guys think the DC Fandome may have Endgame Rogue One fake scene shot? I don't know what that means. Can you guys read? Do you guys understand?
I think, is that in reference to Infinity War, that there were some fake shots in one of the trailers? Is that?
Yeah, maybe. He said, I don't mind this because I can't tell how far I'm in the story. Oh, well, do you think that DC Fandom may have an Endgame Rogue One fake scene shot? So yeah, so maybe there's a fake scene in any of these trailers that isn't going to happen, that we're not going to see in the film. I don't know.
With the exception of the Batman, I don't think there's enough footage in any of it to have any fake shots.
I think that's, with the exception of the Batman, I think the only thing would be that shot in the Flash tease that they showed, where you had Supergirl, Flash, and Flash together, which would be the only thing that you'd be like, I could see getting to the movie and like that gets reworked or something, but I don't think it will. But I don't think there's anything else that we saw that would be. There was nothing else that got people that excited that if it wasn't there, it would be a weird thing.
How come we have multiple different Batmans? We got one dude playing multiple Flashes. I'm confused by that. Are you confused by that? I feel like I'm a little confused by that. Just throwing that out there. All right. Go ahead, Mike. You were saying? Yeah.
That is not a incorrect question. We'll talk about it when we get to that trailer.
All right, real quick. They also did a preview for the Aquaman animated thing that's out on HBO Max right now. Shannon, have you got a chance to watch that yet?
I did watch the first episode. Yes.
Okay. All right. Oh wow. Okay.
Okay. Look. They're
real quick. I'm gonna let you do the review real quick, and then we'll jump to the next thing. Go ahead.
I'll just say, like with Batman, how we had the Nolan Batman, we had Brave and the Bold, we had all these different versions of Batman for all the different audiences out there. This is not necessarily an Aquaman that is my jam, but if a younger audience finds it and enjoys it, fantastic. This is Aquaman done in the style of like SpongeBob and Adventure Time, which is not really for me, but there were parts that definitely made me laugh.
I get really excited about anything that's 45 minutes long. I love long form animation. And I don't know that I love this for Aquaman or a DC hero show, but I really like the animation style and it is surprisingly funny. So I think that if you are a DC person, this is actually one of the things that my friend texted me where he was like, I love that DC is trying things so differently. So it's definitely a different take on Aquaman, but definitely something worth checking out. It might surprisingly be your jam.
Okay. All right. It was sitting on my queue and I was like, do I have 45 minutes for this?
It's weird.
Maybe. All right.
It's weird.
All right. I like it. All right. Stubby One Kenobi says, was that Red Death Flash maybe Reverse Flash standing with Supergirl and the Flash? Keaton appearance leads to Batman Beyond. He is the perfect age for it. Interesting. Stubby, and let's put a pin in that one and we'll address it when we get to that Flash trailer, but we'll remember it. Trust me, I'll have it queued up and ready to go and we'll address it first off. All right, let's get into some Milestone stuff here as we go along through the schedule. Michael, Milestone Comics here. We had Echo Kellum, Dennis Cowan, and Reggie Hudlin talking about what they're doing with Milestone Media, talking about Static Shock. They talked about Blood Syndicate, and also the Static Shock film is mentioned with Michael B. Jordan as the producer, and a Milestone animated feature film was confirmed as well. So did you enjoy this section of the DC Fandome, and what can we take from this conversation that we had here with these three incredibly talented gentlemen?
I really like Reggie and Dennis Cowan as people. I've met them both. I'm pretty good friends with Dennis, so I think they're really awesome guys. I'm glad that Milestone is getting the level of exposure that it's getting. I wish we could have seen a little bit more, and obviously the Static Shock movie and this animated feature are really far away from any footage. But I would have even loved like a sizzle of the year of Milestone from when they announced to now. I think the whole Milestone section could have used a little bit of zhuzhing to give us a little bit more, because I think they have so much amazing artwork and I think they have so much amazing stuff. But it made me a little bit worried that there wasn't more news about the live action Static Shock movie. Because I really, 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 really want to see a Static Shock live action movie. But the news about an animated Milestone movie got me super, super excited. I think that is such a home run. It could be DC and Warner Brothers' version of what Into the Spider-Verse was for Marvel and for Sony. I mean, I think that a Milestone animated movie could just be awesomely huge.
Shannon, what'd you think?
Yeah, Reggie Hudlin directed me in a show many years ago, and just such a really, really good guy, really nice guy. The fact that they haven't done a Milestone animated movie yet is kind of a surprise. So the fact that they did actually announce it is great, and we still know that Michael B. Jordan is still attached to Static Shock in some capacity. I don't remember which was announced first: Static Shock, Blue Beetle, or Batgirl, because I think Static Shock is going to HBO Max, right? Was that confirmed? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it would have been nice to have seen something, but if there's nothing to show yet, there's nothing to show yet. I mean, some of the wheels of pre-production can grind very, very slowly sometimes. But yes, I mean, I've never met Dennis, but Reggie is certainly a really, really good guy, and a Milestone animated movie sounds like a no-brainer.
Yeah, I think so too. I think this was a really good presentation, but I agree with Michael. I think if there had been a sizzle reel kind of get, for the fans who maybe don't know that much about Milestone, don't know that much about Static Shock. Remember, Static Shock, I think was only one season or 2 seasons animated before they killed it, and with Phil Lamar doing the voice, it would have been nice to have a little bit more of the background, a little bit more in a sizzle reel to have people have a little bit of an understanding, then boom, jumping into it. So I think you're absolutely right on that. Michael, let's move on here. We've got Webtoon, Wayne Family Adventures. Anything to talk about here? This was a little weird. Any thoughts on this one, Mike?
Yeah, it was weird. I mean, I'm kind of I'm not mad at it. I do think, something that I've been kind of acutely aware of as I've been working in animation, and you see things like we're living in a world where there's a lot of areas where storytelling is happening that is not the traditional storytelling. So whether that's radio plays, like kind of like what Audible is doing with the Sandman series right now, or webtoons, or online games that are more story based, like there's a lot of places where non-traditional stories are happening. So the fact that they are sort of leaning into like doing webtoons and stuff is great. I will say, having worked at Hasbro for many years, whenever giant companies try and like get into the thing that the cool kids are doing, it definitely is like a minefield of like old people not knowing what they're doing sometimes. So I don't really know how this is going to turn out, but it was definitely like that. This was one of the moments that Shannon was talking about where you're like, okay, show me the trailer, and we've got Wayne Family webtoons, and you're like, cool, okay. I'm gonna go refill my drink real quick, but I mean, I'm here for it. This is great. I love the Wayne Family. We'll see. So yeah, TBD.
Is this the first Black Ward for Batman? Is that what we got there? Was that what we got at the end of the trailer? I thought that was, or am I misinterpreting that? Did I miss that in watching the trailer?
Are you talking about
the webtoon?
Lucas Fox?
Yeah, Lucas Fox. Is this the first time we're seeing him animated?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe like Lucas Fox is in the comics and he's on Batgirl, but it might be the first time that we're seeing animated Lucas Fox.
I thought it was pretty cool. I liked seeing that. So yeah, I was cool with that. Anything to say, Shannon, on the webtoon family adventures of Batman?
No, I mean, Vogel kind of nailed it. This was a stretch my legs moment. No disrespect to the project, just I needed to get up.
Fair enough. Joseph Ashley says, webtoons, I mean, could have put it on YouTube like Strawberry Shortcake.
Hey, check it out now. Mr. McClung's episode is up this weekend.
That's true. Go take a look at it, ladies and gentlemen. It's good stuff. All right, we got real quick before we move on to our next section here, a couple of super chats from Chelsea, and thank you, Chelsea. Not huge on DC, but love hearing you guys talk about it. Off topic, but just watched the Jedi Way review of Star Wars Visions, hoping to get Shannon and Mike's thoughts as those who work in animation. Oh, excuse me. Can we get a future Geek Buddies review? Anyway, I love your live shows and how positive this community is. Many thanks and keep up the great work. It's true. Yeah, Laura and I did it as a way to bring back Jedi Way. We thought, let's talk about Star Wars Visions, but certainly these two gentlemen, a little more learned in animation than I'm. Oh, okay. But
I saw it was tweeted out. I said, oh, that's interesting.
Well, it was more a matter of like, that's our show, and we thought we'd talk about it. It doesn't mean we can't talk about it. If you want to do a Geek Buddies review, I mean, the two times I pitched it, both of you weren't done with watching it, so, I'm not at fault here.
That is a lie.
That is not a lie. I will find the texts. Sir.
I am still not done watching it.
See? Boom. Point proven. Finish them and we'll do it, definitely, down the road for sure. Maybe we'll make it a special one for people to take a look at. All right, let's move on to another piece of animation, but it has to do with video games. The Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League trailer dropped, and it's available if you want to go and take a look at it. They have a 4K version of this, which is fucking gorgeous to watch. I absolutely loved this trailer. I immediately want to buy this game and play it and see if it's any good, because if it matches up to what we got in the trailer, I'll be incredibly excited to play this game. Shannon, what did you think about this? Because we saw a trailer for this last year as well. So you mentioned at the top of the show, will we ever see these video games that coming out? What did you think of this as a way to kind of reinitiate the excitement into this game coming out?
Oh, I mean, I thought it was awesome. Like, I do not have a PS5 yet, so I believe this is PS5 exclusive.
It is PS5, yes.
So there are some steps I will need to take before I can play the game. But I thought the game it looked great. I think the Suicide Squad is such a natural way to tell a story in a video game universe. The fact that you've got 4 different characters to choose from. I mean, it looks really, really cool. And I like that we actually got, because from the first Fandome, we really only saw Superman at the end. And this one, you get peeks at the Flash, you get peeks at Green Lantern, you get a little shot of Wonder Woman's lasso. Yeah. it looks like it will probably be a blast. Of the two video games, I think this one is and I'm basing this off of just glimpses from Fandome. I'm guessing this is probably going to be the better game. Okay. But in terms of a story, I'm more interested in Gotham Knights. But I mean, Suicide Squad looks like it's just going to be a rollicking good time.
Yeah, and I don't think they've released. They said 2022. They still haven't released a release date for this, Michael. But this was a nice way to kind of get back into it, to see the interactions between these characters. And obviously, it looks like the Justice League is mind controlled. A completely different version of Amanda Waller here in the game that I thought was badass, and an interesting combination. You don't have a massive Suicide Squad; it's just 4 of them, and possibly Javelin with that shot in the trailer. What did you think about this whole thing?
I can't wait till next year's DC Fandome when they show us another trailer for this game.
Ooh, someone's salty tonight. Someone is salty tonight.
No, I much like Shannon. I was watching the footage, and here's how you know I liked the footage. I instantly grabbed my phone and went to BestBuy.com and Walmart.com and Amazon.com to just offhandedly see if there was a PS5 available because I'm still trying to buy one. So I am very down to play this game. I thought it did look amazing. I thought it looked amazing last year. You know what? That is sitting there gathering dust, and you should just send it
bullshit
out to
is gathering dust. I'll play my.
If you're listening to this podcast and not watching it, John just moved his camera to show us the PS5 that he has there for show that he doesn't actually play.
I play FIFA and Madden on that thing, but go ahead.
I mean, well, those are not geeky, so I call bullshit. I want to know that you're playing the Miles Morales game. I want to know
I have
that
played the Miles Morales game. If you find me on Twitch, I have video of me playing the Miles Morales game, playing the Star Wars, not Rogue Squadron, the other one, Fallen Jedi, whatever it is. Fallen Order. Yeah, I've played that. So it's
the fact that you know the name of the game so well really makes me believe you. Anyways, my point is, I thought it looked great. I mean, again, I think it was kind of funny with both this and Gotham Knights that clearly there hasn't been a ton of forward momentum as far as a release date from between last year and this year, but the stuff that they showed was really, really fantastic. I'm super, super excited.
Yeah, and just to correct Shannon real quick on the platforms, according to the Wikipedia here, it's going to be available PS5, Xbox Series X and Series S, and Microsoft Windows. So those are the platforms it's going to be available for. But
so
again,
not PS4.
Not PS4. No, you're going to have to upgrade. Sorry about that. But you can come over and play it whenever you want. Just drive on down.
Yes, we'll take the 2.5 hour road trip.
Yeah. If you drive at night, it's 2. That's all right. Haven't seen any new Streamlabs and Super Chats. Keep sending them in as we go along. You see it blazing there in the banner at the bottom of the screen. It's also pinned in the chat. It's in the description of this video. So send in your Streamlabs and Super Chats as we go. What did you like about DC Fandome? What do you want us to talk about DC Fandome? What opinions? What did you have about DC Fandome? Let us know. And let's move on to one of my favorite parts of DC Fandome. Peacemaker, son. Peacemaker. They dropped a almost 3-minute trailer. It was like 2.45, something like that. Trailer for Peacemaker coming out in January on HBO Max, only a few months away. And I'm going to go first here and say, I loved this trailer. I had so much fun with this trailer. It is absolutely James Gunn's humor. So if you're not a James Gunn person, you might not enjoy the humor as much. It was there for everybody to see. We had Steve Agee, had Jennifer Holland reprising their roles. We had some new characters brought in, some new actors coming in to be part of the Peacemaker universe here. But the cherry on top of this cake was eagerly hugging Peacemaker. That moment will forever be burned into my brain. I lost my shit watching that trailer. I did a trailer reaction for it this morning because I hadn't seen it yet, and I loved that moment. And great to see Robert Patrick in the Christopher Walken phase of his life playing his dad. Michael, I go to you first on this one. What did you think about Peacemaker and John Cena dancing in his underwear?
Well, yeah, I mean, yes.
Tidy whities.
Yes, to John Cena dancing in his underwear. Just that's the answer to that question is yes. But beyond that,
yes.
I was really happy. You know, we've talked a lot about Peacemaker, and I'm a really big James Gunn fan. I thought John Cena's Peacemaker was really interesting. The big thing that we kind of said when we all talked about this coming out of the Suicide Squad was, obviously, spoiler alert, Peacemaker is not the biggest hero of the movie. And so what they were going to do with this character kind of really made me intrigued. But watching this kind of full teaser that they released, it didn't answer all the questions, but it answered enough to get me really excited. I think that one of my favorite parts, I mean, yes, eagerly hugging Peacemaker was the best part of the trailer, hands down. But the other greatest part of the trailer for me was Danielle Brooks, who's playing the character Leota. I forget her last name. But Danielle Brooks is a great actress. I loved her on Orange is the New Black. I think she's hilarious. And she really seems like she might be my breakout favorite character in the show. And she's the one that said the thing that made me excited about this show. Because she says in the trailer, kind of, she's talking about Peacemaker, or she's talking to him, and she's like, you act like a jerk to protect yourself. And if you just let your guard down, if you stop doing that, people would like you more. And that made me go, oh, okay, this guy is a jerk. He is a douche. We're gonna see his dad, who is a horrible human being. We're gonna kind of get into how this dude became this crazy, weird vigilante, and we're gonna deal with it, and it's gonna be kind of breaking him down and kind of getting into that. And so that automatically, right off the bat, I mean, I kind of suspected that would be kind of the direction we'd go, but kind of getting that confirmed that we we're gonna kind of go in that direction really kind of got me more into the show than I did. Like, this trailer kind of fully got me on board with Peacemaker.
Yeah, I mean, Shannon, I think Michael's absolutely right, nailing on the head there. This is a redemption story, because at the end of Suicide Squad, nobody liked Peacemaker for sure, and so this feels like a anti-hero story that we're going to find out the backstory of this guy, and having someone like Leona as the kind of eyes and ears of the audience, having her be the one that kind of seeks to understand him, goes through this journey with him, and it looks like Steve Agee's character, they have a moment where they blood-soaked clasping of hands to help each other up. So that seems like this is in essence kind of a redemption story for Peacemaker throughout, while he's also trying to keep off Vigilante from killing a bunch of people. And Vigilante feels like Black Noir, if Black Noir could talk, from The Boys. So
yes,
and Peacemaker feels a little bit like he's Homelander, a kind of dumber version of Homelander, but an interesting one. What did you think, Shan?
See, I got Deadpool vibes from this version of Vigilante.
Okay.
Yeah, right. I mean, he had a few good one-liners in there. It's interesting because I do like James Gunn's humor. I am curious to see where the show goes. I thought it was a really, really funny trailer. The whole butt baby moment, I was like,
butt babies.
Is really?
Like I said, you're either in or you're out with James Gunn. That's true.
It just the thing with that, I was just kind of like, okay, he wasn't this dumb in the movie. So the fact,
yes, he was.
Disagree. I really don't think the intelligence he displayed in that movie would have him questioning whether or not babies could be birthed from a butt. However, I thought, I did think it was a funny trailer. I'm really curious to see this as sort of, the DC Cinematic Universe's first entry into television.
Yes.
So for that, I'm very, very curious. And I'm also curious how long it took them to get Robert Patrick's hair to stand straight up like that.
Oh my gosh. I
said, thought he just woke up that way. I think he just showed up on set.
What's the relationship here with him? And I mean, his dad is right. I mean, the original Peacemaker's kind of a douche. So what's that going to end up being, and how that's going to play? Is this also a bringing together of them and kind of, putting the past aside as father and son? Do you think that's also a place we're going here, Mike?
It could be, but it seems more like Robert Patrick is there to show why. I don't think this is a father-son. I could be 100% wrong. Like, we don't have enough to really go on to know for sure. Right. But if I was going to guess, I would say that this is not about a guy who needs to make amends with his dad. I think Dad is there to show us how this guy turned into what he did. Right. And it's going to be more about, how do I move past my dad issues to become a better human? That would be my guess, though.
and I'm going to throw this out there and people might get a little bit upset, but he's kind of a red state kind of hero. And Robert Patrick certainly has played these kind of red state type of approaches to characters on CBS for a few years now. And so I'm curious to see how they're going to walk the line on this here and see what issues get brought up, because there's no fucking way they're not bringing up some social issues, some social justice. I mean, the boss of the team is black. His partner is black. There's more that's going to be explored here. I think that's going to be interesting to see how they walk the line on this show. So just throwing it out there to consume for people. Yeah. You want to say, Michael?
I was going to say that while I think it is, I do not think it is true that all people that live in red states fall into that stereotype.
No.
It's definitely a stereotype that is specific to red states.
Yes, that's what I would say. And let's end on a positive note. Look at that. I mean, how the fuck they did that? But that is fucking incredible. I mean, I'm just going to
John, there's this thing called CG.
Nope, that was a real eagle. You're not going to talk me out of that. That's a real fucking eagle hugging him like that. I don't want to hear anything about it. I loved it anyway. Yeah, so good stuff there for Peacemaker. I hope it's good. I want it to be good. So, and because I think Cena stood out in Suicide Squad, but then it was a little weird near the ending. So to see that he's going to get a little more time to do his thing and once again flesh this out. And again, this is incredible. Batista, The Rock, Cena. It's phenomenal that these professional wrestlers have jumped. And then you throw in Sasha Banks in Mandalorian, and she's going to have a big part in the next season of Mandalorian, apparently. It's incredible to see these wrestlers jumping in to these big projects and doing well with these characters. So shout out to whatever they're doing there, the WWE and pro wrestling, and teaching these people how to be better actors to make the transition. Yeah.
There definitely is a correlation between the evolution and maturity of wrestling as entertainment and the jump of wrestlers into actual scripted film and television. Like it's definitely gotten more, and the quality of the people making the jump has gotten stronger. Yeah.
And no offense to Randy Savage, the late great Randy Savage and his Bonesaw, but there's more happening now with these actors for sure. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to Superman and Lois season 2. This got teased as well. Shannon, we'll go to you first as someone who's got some interesting feelings about this series.
Well, Shannon talks about this. I'm going to refill my drink because we are taking way longer than I thought we were.
Oh, well, you said you wanted to go in order, so we're going in order.
By the way, I'm super into it. I'm loving the chat. I just need to refill while Shannon talks about how much he thinks Lois Lane is boring.
Oh, there it is. You buried the lead. Anyway, go ahead. Shannon, what did you think about them introducing Superman and Lois season 2?
Well, look, I mean, I have only, to be fair, and you know, full disclosure, like I only watched the pilot of Superman and Lois. Okay. So I only saw the first episode. I thought it was fine. I do like Tyler Hoechlin as Clark Kent. I think he does a really, really good job. Yep. I'm not the biggest fan of Elizabeth Tulloch. Going back to Grimm, I was just kind of like, this is not someone as a performer who I just don't connect with them. Right. And because I didn't watch all the CW, all the CW programming where, you know, she was introduced, I'm assuming she was introduced in Supergirl. Right. Because I don't watch that. I just was kind of like, my introduction to her was on Superman and Lois. Yes. And so again, the impression that I had stuck with me. Now, plenty of people are talking about how much they really enjoyed this show and how it's kind of the next generation of the CW DC television universe. So, you know, far be it from me to say like, it's a bad show, because I can't say. I only watched the pilot. Will I go back and watch the first season at some point because it is on HBO Max? Maybe, but you know, there's a lot of stuff out there. Yeah. So, but that does happen where a particular performer just you don't necessarily connect to, and it kind of sours you on the show. So
you find some support here. Stubby1 Kenobi says he's with you. Joseph Asher said Lois is kind of vanilla, but she's not bad. Stormy Wood say, I agree with Shannon. The actress doesn't connect to me at all. But Joseph also did say, I liked her on Grimm. And then Avtalik said she was awful on Grimm. So, you know, you can't wait. It's fandom. That's the way it goes. Michael, what did you think about this presentation? And you know, you're right. We are taking a while. So let's jump into our big stuff after we finish here on Superman and Lois season 2. What do you think?
Well, I think that I did watch the full season. I think it's definitely worth the watch on HBO Max. I think that I would call Superman and Lois kind of CW plus. It definitely had a bigger budget than the other CW shows. I think the script's a little bit stronger. I think they told a really, really great Superman story. I think I loved the comics when Superman and Lois post the New 52 kind of came in with Jonathan Kent and moved back to Smallville, which is what this series is kind of based on, adding in the whole twin aspect. But I think Superman and Lois's parents is great. I didn't love her at first either. I mean, Shannon and I both talked about it and kind of had a similar opinion. She grew on me over the season. I think she is becoming a better Lois Lane. And I think if you watch the series, I didn't really love her on Supergirl as Lois, and I wasn't sure about her at the beginning, but she really, really did grow on me. I think it's a strong cast. I think it's a strong story. I think they take some risks with the Superman kind of lore that we know. They add in some new elements to it, but I think it's super interesting. So if you're a Superman fan, I highly recommend it. And think you should check it out. And then also, before we jump into the bigger things, because I just want to make sure that we mention it, and I think this is when they did it in the fandom, I think my favorite part of DC Fandome was post this when Jim Lee came out kind of to talk about what was going on in the comics with Superman, and also made it clear that DC was adjusting Superman's logo so that Superman's kind of phrasing.
His mission statement.
Superman's mission statement, as we all know, has been fighting for truth, justice, and the American way. And Jim Lee kind of came out and officially said that Superman's new mission is going to be fighting for truth, justice, and a better tomorrow. So in addition to the fact that as soon as I heard this, I knew that everyone at Fox News just imploded internally and was ready to go fight about it on the news, I thought this was great. And I know that this is the smallest thing in comparison to the footage that we got on Flash and Black Adam and Batman trailer and everything else. But for me personally, as a big Superman fan, the fact that DC sort of is officially kind of putting a stake in the ground and saying this is what Superman stands for, I think is really big and really important. And I, for one, really, really loved it and was into it. I just wanted to make sure that we mentioned it because I thought it was awesome.
I think that's a great point, Mike. Absolutely. I love it. And Shannon, what did you think about the change?
Yeah, I mean, and, before some folks on one side of the political spectrum lose their minds, I mean, I do think didn't he have a different phrase before truth, justice, and the American way? Was there a different one before that? Am I misremembering?
I might be misremembering. I think it was I think he was always that. And yes, everybody, your motto is the word I was looking for. Thank you for everyone in the chat that told me, because I'm just going to keep drinking. So thank you.
Are you thinking up and away? Is that what you were thinking, Shannon?
No. It was something else. I'll look for it.
Okay.
Anyways, I thought it was I thought it was good.
Yeah, I thought it was good too. And somebody mentioned it kind of connects to Man of Tomorrow and all of that. So that absolutely works for sure if you want to find a shield for it. But I don't think you need to. I think they're very clear about what they're saying here. And, the unsilent minority can yell and scream and whatever they want on those 3 news channels. Those people aren't buying the comic books. And so they don't care about them. What they care about is the people who are buying the comic books. And the people who are buying the comic books, I don't think they make this change as a business if they don't sense this is a right move overall, not only just socially, but also financially. And so to me, I like the fact that they're going forward, because a better tomorrow is what we all want. And it exudes hope, which is what Superman is supposed to represent, the hope, right, of what we can be or what is possible in our world. So I love that as well. All right, so let's move on to our next big thing, and let's jump into it now. And that's, did you guys get a chance to see the Flash trailer here with Ezra Miller and the Batman? Batman rather, Michael Keaton? Did you guys enjoy this trailer? What's your feelings about this trailer? What did you get out of this thing? Shannon, I'll go to you first. Did you like this as kind of a teaser trailer to get you excited? I mean, the film is finally happening. Whatever your feelings are about Ezra Miller, it is finally happening. And we got 2 Ezra Millers. We got Sasha Calle, Supergirl, in this first look. And we got Michael Keaton walking out, at least from behind, in the cowl, and them going black before we got to see the Batmobile. Thoughts on this overall?
I thought it was a fantastic tease. The moment that it starts and you hear Michael Keaton and you hear the score from 1989's Batman, it's like you forget that it is actually a Flash movie. I'm super curious. I mean, like Flashpoint, when I read it, I mean, it was fantastic. And obviously they're taking it as sort of a launching point because there are already significant changes being made. You know, because in the comics, Barry sees Thomas Wayne. He doesn't see Bruce Wayne. So seeing that, like we know Ben Affleck's in it, that he possibly goes from one universe to the other, where he hooks up with an older Batman, a different Batman. In that trailer, you get that shot of the two Ezra Millers. You get with Sasha Calle. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was awesome. And the moment that Ezra Miller rips that sheet off what we presume is the Batmobile and it goes to black, I was so sad that we didn't get to see it. But then hearing his reaction, that oh shit, is literally what I think we all would have said if we'd been in that position. I'm super curious because, as you said, like they've been trying to do a Flash movie for so long. So to see that it is finally coming together, that we are going to get it, I mean, next November can't get here fast enough. No pun intended.
Fair enough. Michael, we were excited when we saw that leaked image of Michael Keaton on the set. We saw the long limousine of him being there as well. But this is a full-on embracing of a 1989's Batman. That is Wayne Manor. That is, and we have Andy Muschietti and his horror approaches here with the fog and the gargoyle and the gothic nature of Wayne Manor. And then hearing Michael Keaton's voice as he's kind of narrating this thing, we assume playing Bruce Wayne. It's a good point you bring up, though, Shannon. He could be Thomas Wayne, not Bruce Wayne. That's possible, too, which would really piss a lot of people off, I imagine. But if he's Bruce Wayne and we're seeing him walk out in the cowl, what did you think of a way of introducing Michael Keaton this way in this trailer? Flash almost taking a back seat to his own story.
Well, I think that's the issue. So I thought it was great. I was super into this. I'm super excited. If anyone who's watching or listening has been watching and listening in the past, I've often said, like, Flashpoint is a giant chance for DC to sort of right the ship in whatever way they want. It doesn't really matter. There's no specific way they need to right the ship. This is just their chance to be like, this is what our universe looks like.
Right.
And Keaton coming in, the second that was announced, we all got really excited about it. I think that this tease that they're showing leans a lot on the Keaton and Batman of it all, almost to the point where it's like what everyone is excited about right now, if we're all being honest.
Oh, yeah.
Is the Keaton and Batman at all. Ezra Miller is like a secondary part. You're like, yeah, and Ezra, he's wearing the choker. It's super cool. He's weird, but I like him. He's a fun Flash. Cool. Let's talk about the Batmobile. And I think that that's a good thing, but it could also be a bad thing. Like, this does need to be a Flash movie. Yep. Like, we do need to care about the Flash and Barry. Like, clearly, we see the moment where Barry is walking into the room and we see Nora from behind. Like, they are following the Flashpoint storyline in a little bit. Even like Michael Keaton's narration, it's talking about, like, you can go to any timeline, you can go to any universe. Why do you want to save this one? And it's because of Nora. So this is a story about Barry wanting to save his mom and that having repercussions, which is the core of what Flashpoint is really about. So that needs to work. Now, look, Ezra Miller's weird. Like, super weird. Like, when he popped up on screen, I was like, dude, I texted you guys how weird I thought he was. Like, he's weird. Attractively weird, but weird. But that being said, he's a great Flash. Like, as much as I didn't love Joss's Justice League, as much as I liked Zack Snyder's Justice League more, but still didn't love it, I think he is one of the best parts of both of those movies. I think the energy, the vibe that he brings to his version of Barry Allen, even though it's not the comics Barry Allen or the CW's Barry Allen, I think is great. I think he does a really good job. So I just really want to make sure that this is his movie and that Michael Keaton doesn't completely overshadow it, which would be easy for him to do because holy shit, we are all so excited about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's circle back to Stubby One Kenobi's super chat here. Was that Red Death Flash maybe a reverse Flash standing with Supergirl and the Flash Keaton's appearance leads to Batman Beyond, he is the perfect age for it. So what did you guys think? Was that Death Flash? Was that Reverse Flash there with Supergirl, the other Ezra Miller?
My assumption, and I think you guys will probably agree with me on this, is that was maybe that universe's Flash. Like in Flashpoint, Barry kind of shows up in a world where either there was no Flash, or I mean, I think in Flashpoint they're kind of like there was no Flash, but it looks like this might be a world where maybe there is a Flash, or he gets a Flash from another place. Like it looked like the Flash that we know plus some other Flash plus Supergirl is what I was reading that as.
Okay.
Yes,
Shannon?
I did not see that as being Eobard Thawne. That is definitely another Barry Allen. Now, as to why, Vogel is literally about to say what I was going to say.
Please, I talk plenty. Go ahead.
Well, no, I mean, why in two different universes do you have the same Barry Allen, but in the same two different universes you have two different Bruce Waynes? It's like there are a lot of questions that are being asked right now from the fans.
Although,
go for it.
Well, although it would be a stretch, I mean, and this is a big stretch, but this is movies. Michael Keaton's Batman is an older Batman.
Yes.
Michael Keaton is older. Now, I don't know that you can sell me on the fact that Ben Affleck ages into Michael Keaton, but if that's what they told me, if they were like, look, this is an older Batman and this is a Batman who lived his life and it was the same, like, I'll buy it. I'll take it because it gives me Michael Keaton's Batman. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'll accept that as a reasoning. So we'll see. Also, to the other point that was made, once Michael Keaton's Batman is into the universe, it becomes a part of this cinematic world that we're building. I have a feeling he's going to hang out in our mainline universe for a while, but if he doesn't and he exists, 1,000%, if they don't start developing a live-action Batman Beyond movie, they are crazy because holy shit, that's all any of us want to see.
It's true. I watched a fan trailer, a fan-made trailer for a Batman Beyond launch earlier today, and I was like, this is you just print the money. You would make so much money off something like this. So yeah, looked fantastic. All right, let's get into some Streamlabs and Super Chats that have rolled through here. Let's catch up. Jughead says, greetings to you, John, my Hispanic brother. Oh, well, hello. I am glad you have your own broadcast now. I'm always contributing to John Campia's, Rob Burnett's, and Perry Nemiroff's shows, and now we'll do the same for you. Oh, well, thank you, Jughead. I appreciate that. And hello, my Hispanic brother as well. And shout out to those people. Jughead also follows up, says, greetings also to Michael and Shannon. I miss my Collider family. Love and respect to you, John. Love and respect to you from the UK. Same to you, brother, man. Love and respect. There you go. And all right, let's go to Derek Johnson. He says, Flash and military comics were my intro to comics, but DCEU disappointed me. This trailer felt like a Batman Beyond trailer rather than a Flash one. Was looking forward to finding out if he learned how to run yet. Supergirl looked dope. Yeah. All right, guys.
Yeah, I mean, that confirms what I was saying. I mean, you're on the same page as I was. Like, I am super all about this trailer. And obviously they know, because the second that they announced that Michael Keaton was getting cast in this movie, we all lost our goddamn minds. So they're giving us what we wanted.
True.
But I also want this to definitely be a Flash movie. So I'll be interested to see when the full trailer comes out. And as Ezra Miller said, with his choker on, this was just a tease. And by the way, I love the choker. I'm not actually hating on
happening?
it. I loved everything. I loved everything about his look. I thought he was so pretty / handsome and both. Like, he was all the things, and I loved it. But I think that once we see the full teaser, I'll be really interested to see, or the full trailer, I'll be interested to see how they sort of split the balance between the Flash of it all and the Batman of it all. And like, look, Flashpoint as a story is kind of a two-hander in a way. Like, the emotional impact of that story, as much as it is Flash, Barry, and Nora's story that has the emotional impact, it's also the Bruce and Thomas thing that has the impact. So we'll see how they split it across the board.
Okay. Shannon?
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, it's a Flash trailer. It's narrated by Batman. You got the Batman music. And the biggest reveal, or the two biggest reveals, are the Batman cowl and almost the Batmobile. So I totally understand and respect the position. But it did get me excited. So
yeah, fair enough. I agree. And Simon Sections says, speaking of Superman and Lois, I think this version of Jonathan Kent won't be bisexual, but instead be in a controversial story involving spoilers.
Yeah, I think that's true, actually. I mean, I know a lot of people have talked about, as soon as the announcement was made with the comics about Jonathan Kent, will this apply to the Jonathan Kent in the comics? And while I think that the Jonathan Kent in the CW series could 1000% be bisexual, I don't know that he will. I don't know that that's something that they're going to take over. Like, if anyone reads the comics and watches the show, the Jonathan Kent that I know and really like in the comics is absolutely nothing in any way, shape, or form like the Jonathan Kent in the series. So to me, it's two completely different things. So I don't know that they will necessarily.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. And Derek Johnson back again says, I want to be so for the DCU. I know this Flash movie will reset, but damn, man, I've been burned a lot here. Hard to trust again. This Flash and Black Adam movie is my last shot with DCEU. By the way, love the show. Always love the content. Derek, first of all, thank you for your service. And second of all, I hear what you're saying. And a lot of people feel that the uneven returns of DC, and I'm looking at Vogel, makes you want to question whether this studio should have any faith or has earned any trust. But I mean, you come out of DC Fandome and you feel like they are making the right moves here. And they maybe stumbled out of the gate a few times, but they've been rectifying things as they've been going along. And overall, I feel like for the most part, it has yielded a lot of financial and critical success for them. So you look at Shazam, what you feel about Aquaman is what you feel about Aquaman, but it made $1 billion. Joker made $1 billion. It won best score. I mean, it won an Oscar, for God's sake. So there's all kinds of things that are happening for this. And then look at the Zack Snyder Justice League. Now, did they do him dirty a little bit? Didn't even promote it coming out on Blu-ray? Yeah, certainly. There's issues going on there. But overall, it still feels like they're trying to right the ship here. There's more diversity coming on HBO Max with a lot of these films. So, and we had the Blue Beetle tease, which wasn't much, but it was Zolo Mataduena talking about it, which is great. So it feels like they're moving in the right direction. So maybe start to have a little more faith in just, all right, if Black Adam doesn't work, fuck it, I'm out of here. Just my 2 cents on you, Derek. What do you guys think?
Derek, I'm with you, man. I am with you. Everything Rocha said, sure, sounds good. I'm with you 1,000%.
Shan, any thoughts?
Well, look, I mean, Batman, Aquaman, and the New Titans were my entry point into comic books. So, I mean, I've always connected more to the DC heroes than the Marvel heroes, even though I love the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So, I mean, I can only speak for me, but man, I will keep giving them my money because I just want a DC version of the MCU. I want to see that big interconnected universe. If that's not the way they go with it, that's not the way they go with it. But I'll still keep going.
There's no way they're not heading towards that. There's no way they're introducing multiverses to not tie them up or connect them in some way down the road. I think Crisis on Infinite Earths is legitimately in play down the road. That's what I believe. This whole opening the door to all these different universes. Now, should they be trusted to do that at this point? No, but I think we're absolutely getting there. Michael, I heard you take an inhale. What do you think about that? Are you saying no?
You kind of said it in a more succinct way than I would have said it.
Yeah.
But I think that given what they're laying out between their TV versions of shows that are higher quality and their feature versions and everything they're doing, a Crisis on Infinite Earths style event would be the right thing to do. I don't know that they can actually execute that, but hey, man.
Yeah.
Here's a cheers for dreaming.
Derek, okay, John, I'm holding you to it. I'm going to watch this bike on training wheels, hoping they learn how to ride. And Vogel, hell yeah, you know where I'm coming from. Respect, Derek, respect. All right, let's swing over to some Streamlabs that have come through here real quick. Sean, thank you, Sean. You know you don't have to. You're incredibly kind. Sean said, based on what we know now, and that can change between Marvel and DC, which movie will make the most money, and also which movie will be the most critically acclaimed? So, are you saying which movie that we saw previewed here in the in DC Fandome? If you're saying that, then we're looking at the Batman, the Flash, what other movie was it? Is it between those? Oh, it's Shazam 2 and Aquaman 2. Which one is going to make the most money? Which will be the most critically acclaimed? What do you guys think?
I think Matt Reeves' the Batman is most likely to be critically acclaimed, but I think Michael Keaton being Batman in the Flash movie could put that one over the top, and then I would never bet against Aquaman given what Aquaman 2 did. So what Aquaman 1 did. So it's like the three of them are all sort of neck and neck right now as far as like, I think that the Batman has the most likely chance of being the critical sort of darling. Aquaman 2 will not be the critical darling. Flash, Michael Keaton Batman is sort of a complete wild card. But those are the three that are going to like really be neck and neck for it.
Yeah.
I mean, critically, I agree with Vogel that it's going to be the Batman, no doubt. In terms of box office, you can't count out The Rock, man. I think Black Adam has a very, especially if it's good, especially if it, if it's an audience pleaser. I mean, I think you can never count out The Rock. I mean, people have been. I mean, the guy is basically a real life superhero already. Like people have been waiting for him to do this for so long. The Flash, I think, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if Michael Keaton as Batman gets as many butts in the seats as as The Rock. But high probability that the Batman takes them both.
Yeah, I think the Batman definitely agree with both of you. If that thing is as good as the trailer teases, we're looking at a Best Picture nomination. I really believe that. Just like we had with Joker, or had the push for with Joker. I think there's a serious possibility this could be that. It feels like the best version of an art house film and a superhero film put together, just like Joker did. So it excites me that there's a possibility that could be something there. But I do agree with you. I think Aquaman 2, for whatever fucking reason, is just going to make money hand over fist. Just like those people who love that shitty first Venom movie, they showed up in droves for an even crappier Venom 2 movie. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the Aquaman people who put it over $1 billion show up in droves to see it multiple times for Aquaman 2.
You are still real mad about that Venom 2.
Oh my God. Yeah. Let me read into things that aren't there. Anyway, all right, let's move on to our next Streamlab. And thank you, Sean. You're the best. Lou Hip Fan says, feels like this is the show to redeem the Peacemaker for what he did in Suicide Squad and make him an anti-hero. I think we kind of established that earlier, but thank you, Lou. Appreciate it. Chrissy donated. Chrissy says, I have been watching the Batman trailer on a loop and was looking forward to Wednesday to see what you guys thought about it. Very excited to see this live show pop up, so I don't have to wait that long. Love the Geek Buddies. Yes, we're going to be talking about the Batman very, very soon in our rundown here. Thank you, Chrissy. Carol says, I may be in the minority, but I'm not a fan of Ezra Miller, especially as the Flash. That being said, Michael Keaton being in this movie is what is doing it for me. Plus, I really like the new suit. Oh, do you guys think we'll see Reverse Flash? Yeah, let's talk about that real quick. Do you like the new suit? And will we see Reverse Flash?
The Reverse Flash thing is interesting. So if anybody knows the Flashpoint story, like Reverse Flash is a key part of that story. He kind of orchestrates all of this to happen. Because we don't know in the cinematic universe, we don't know that much about Barry Allen's Flash at this point. I think introducing a Reverse Flash is a giant leap for someone who hasn't been a hero for very long. That being said, it could work. Like you can have a character show up and say, look, you're going to become this hero. We are going to fight. So it could happen, but you could also just as easily, if you see what Ezra Miller's Flash did in Zack Snyder's Justice League at the end of that movie, and the way that he sort of ran through time in what I would say is probably, for me, the coolest moment of the entire Zack Snyder Justice League movie, it would be an easy jump to say, with or without a Reverse Flash, that's a Barry Allen who would go, oh, I could go do this thing now and save my mom. So it'll be interesting to see if they try and introduce that element or if they just make this a Barry decision on its own.
Okay. Shannon?
Yeah, I don't know how you do Flashpoint without Reverse Flash, but again, this is not a direct adaptation. So, I mean, I do agree with Vogel that it is kind of a big stretch to introduce that character when we've not gotten a full-on Flash movie yet. But in terms of the suit, I like the new suit. I mean, with the Justice League suit, how it was kind of armored and it had this piping to kind of contain the energy, and you see that the new Flash suit is the next level. And like, I don't know, we don't know if Bruce Wayne is the one who makes it. It would make sense that this really technically intelligent guy is able to look at what preceded it and to make that jump, that next technological step in how to best harness this power.
Yeah. I like the new suit. I thought it was a great look. Love the close-up of the ring. Love him spraying the yellow lightning bolts on his boots. All of that was pretty badass. And look, Spider-Man has already jumped, 3 suits? He'll maybe get a 4th one. So fuck it. Flash can get a couple of suits, for God's sakes. I think they look fantastic. I love pork and chicken disagrees. Said he kind of looks like a Christmas tree though. So there you go. Funny stuff.
Who doesn't love Christmas?
Come on. Exactly. Who doesn't love Christmas, guy? Let's see here. Princess Geek is the last Streamlab we have right now. I was disappointed that none of these movies didn't have any big action scenes. We didn't see Flash run. We did. Hawkman fly. Hawkman didn't even appear. Or Supergirl fight. How about you? What we saw action scenes in the Batman, right? Did we?
Well, not a ton. I mean,
the Penguins,
Yeah, the Penguin moment was cool, but no, I think it is a good look. This is just sort of part and parcel of like what I was saying about. I do think that DC Fandome did a lot with a little. Like clearly, where all of these movies are in production, going through like the special effects process, like all the things that you need to do to get a special effects shot to look as amazing as you want it to look for people to see, stuff wasn't quite there yet. So they showed us very little and got us excited, but I do think it kind of gets me stoked for when these trailers do come out, because even though we didn't get to see Supergirl be badass, even though we didn't necessarily see Barry run, even though we didn't see a lot of things, these characters are so huge that that those shots are coming. And what I will say for DC is that from a special effects and sort of art direction standpoint, like their shit looks dope. Like my issues are more with the story and character stuff, but as far as how it's going to look, I am sure that with the heavy hitters they have coming in, it's going to look badass.
One last thing, just saying the Blue Beetle stuff. I know I want to swing back real quick as Michael did with Superman. I want to hit a point on this in Blue Beetle. Great to see Zola Mardueña there talking about it, that it's happening. They showed the concept art. That's pretty much all they can show because they just started shooting. So it was nice to see them talk about it. Nice to hear them kind of lean into it and have more to say about it. And that concept art looked fantastic. So shout out to them for putting this thing together. I'm excited for it overall. All right, let's do a quick detour and then we'll get into the Batman. What did we think about Gotham Knights, the video game here, introducing the Court of Owls, at least in the video game format, and having Penguin as well in there, kind of narrating the dialogue, and that's Elias Tushevas who's doing it. So pretty cool to see him being that voice of Penguin, kind of mirroring what we got in the Batman trailer from Colin Farrell. So what did you guys think of this as a video game compared to what we got earlier with Suicide Squad to Kill Justice League?
I mean, I love the story. I love the Court of Owls approach. I love how much Cobblepot is sort of providing the exposition to our heroes. In terms of gameplay, I mean, it looks like kind of how Arkham Origins was just Arkham City with some different skins. I kind of feel like that's what Gotham Knights is going to be as well, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, if you want innovative gameplay, then this might not be the thing for you, but most people who do want to play a Batman game, I mean, you just want to be Batman, and the fact that we're getting to play all these characters who we've only really got to play in DLC before. I mean, I don't think we've ever played Batgirl before, but you're getting to be Nightwing, you're getting to be Red Hood, you're getting to be Robin. Like, to me, it's awesome. Again, I think the Suicide Squad game is going to be more impressive in terms of gameplay, but as a story, I'm very excited for Gotham Knights.
What did you think, Mike, when you saw this thing?
I'm kind of with Shannon. I think the Court of Owls is just a great modern addition to the Batman mythos that is reaping massive rewards. Like, it's just a cool story, and it's great to see it in the video game form. I don't really know which one is going to be better gameplay. I think Shannon's right. The Gotham Knights one seems the most likely to be sort of like the Arkham games that we played before. But I'm super stoked to play both. I just love that between Oswald Cobblepot getting electrocuted 95 times in the Suicide Squad trailer and him narrating this trailer and what we see in the Batman, it is the fucking Penguin Renaissance. He is the MVP of DC Fandome. Like, he was cleaning up. Who knew the Penguin was going to get as much play as he got in this fandom?
The Penguin Sans? Is that what you're trying? Are you trying to say it's the Penguin Sans?
The Cobblesance.
That's why he makes the big bucks.
I want to bring something up real quick. Well, actually, we'll bring it up in a little bit, and I want to touch base on it in a little bit. I liked the video, the trailer rather. I dug it. Court of Owls, that looked fantastic. Looked creepy. Look, I love Penguin saying, or I loved Nightwing saying it's a myth, it's not real, and blah blah blah. And Penguin just be like, oh, if you only knew. And by the way, Penguin also a part of the Suicide Squad trailer, getting electrocuted over and over and over again until King Shark takes it too far and says, pop his head off. So yeah,
that's what I just said.
Did you just say that?
Literally just said. Do you not listen when I talk? Do you just zone out?
I really zone out.
John went to refill his drink as well.
Yeah, I refilled my drink in my mind. Let's move on to another super chat before Mikey gets too angry. Eric the Red 06 says, as exciting as DC Fandome was, I just realized we didn't get any word on a Man of Steel sequel. Is it time to give up hope? Yeah, we got 75 Batmans, one person playing 30 Flashes, and we have no Superman other than Taylor. So what did you think about not having a Man of Steel? It's dead, right? It's gone.
Yes.
Gone. Right.
Yes.
That would be my guess. That would be my guess.
Yeah. It's done.
You know what will be interesting once Flash comes out and we see what they actually do with that movie, if that is the big reset that everyone is presuming it's going to be. I think that will be the time to figure out, okay, what is the path that the DC films are charting.
Also, remember, Flashpoint also has a pretty vicious Wonder Woman, right? And there's all kinds of weird shit going on with the Justice League. Are we going to see any of them doing cameos besides Michael Keaton as these characters in the future? I think that's going to be a big selling point, All right, one more here from Simon Section says, let's say a new Batman Beyond medium is coming out. What format do you guys think will give it justice? Film or series streaming? Also, which actors would you like to see play Commissioner Gordon?
First, props to you, Simon. Like, asking who will play Commissioner Gordon is such a great question, and I have no idea. But like, the older Barbara Gordon is one of the best parts of Batman Beyond, and like, I'm glad that that's the question you asked. I don't know that they could get Michael Keaton to do an HBO Max series,
right?
But we live in it's the Wild West now. Like, we live in a world where that's a possibility, where that never would have been a possibility before. And to me, seeing Batman Beyond spin-off into an HBO Max series with Michael Keaton training a younger Batman, I think is the biggest win you could have. I think I would lose my shit over that more than I would lose my shit over a Batman Beyond movie. Wow.
Shannon, thoughts?
I mean, Michael Keaton is doing a series right now on Hulu. I mean, granted, it's a limited series, but the streaming wars, I mean, money talks. So if you can interest him with the story and with the paycheck, I wouldn't say anything's off the table.
Yeah, Dope Sick is the name of the show on Hulu. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
And the first episode is excellent.
Yeah.
Who would be a good older?
I got two for
Barbara Gordon. Okay.
Kate Mulgrew or Glenn Close.
I mean, Kate, you had me at. Can you imagine being like?
That's a really good suggestion.
Don't you think?
I'm the commissioner of Gotham City. Let's have some coffee and I'm into it. Oh, let's do it. Kate Mulgrew as Commissioner Gordon. I'm into it.
I mean, it just makes all the sense in the world, in my opinion, if you're going to play that game. Don't you think? Shan?
I mean, this is a very out of left field suggestion, but I just watched her on the morning show. But Marcia Gay Harden, I think, would be a really cool Barbara Gordon.
Okay. And this is Barbara Gordon for reference for you people there. So, she's an older Barbara Gordon. She's got the white hair and all that jazz. So I could totally see Mulgrew doing this because there's also going to be some action sequence. She gets some action scenes in that series. So, and full disclosure, this is the way Michael Vogel walked me into superhero animated shows was Batman Beyond. I was not into I didn't watch Batman the animated series, didn't watch Superman the animated series. It was Michael making me sit down and watch Batman Beyond, and I fucking loved it. And from there, we swung into Mask of Phantasm and then everything else.
You guys don't know how I built the Outlaw.
Easy killer. Easy. Easy. That's a trademark thing.
We were getting along so well.
Yeah, that's a trademark thing you just claimed you created. All right, let's move on to the next thing here. What else are we talking? So Court of Owls is coming out real soon. So, but we don't know when. Your guess is as good as ours. All right,
2022.
Yeah, supposedly 2022 sometime. All right, let's jump up real quickly. Let's jump into Shazam real quick, and then we'll jump into the Batman trailer after that to kind of wrap up the show here. But Shazam: Fury of the Gods, we got about a minute or two of behind-the-scenes stuff. Zachary Levi kind of walking us into this really cool stuff. Nice guy. I met Zachary. Really nice guy. Super geek guy. Totally. This is fun. But we got our first look of both Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu in their characters as villains fighting against the Marvel family here. What did you guys think of this kind of behind the scenes look at Shazam? Mike, what did you think?
Helen Mirren, Lucy Liu.
Yeah.
The end.
Okay.
My gay brain exploded and I was like, well, I'm going. Like that's all there is to it. I mean, I think Shazam is really cute. That's actually not entirely true. Like I think Shazam is really cute. I think the family of heroes that they kind of got you to at the end of that first movie was great. Mm-hmm. I think Mark Strong was kind of wasted in the first movie. I think the villain story in Shazam is probably the weakest part of the movie. I don't think you're wrong. I think everything else is way cuter and charming and great. And so I think that adding in the Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu factor here, where they're just these goddesses coming in, and especially in the behind-the-scenes footage where they're like, we're going deep into like Greek mythology and creatures and monsters and whatever, which gives the heroes a lot more to fight against. Mm-hmm. It sounds great. If they can retain the tone and the charm of the first movie and sort of up the villain factor, I think they've got a hit on their hands. Like, I'm super down for it.
Fair enough. This is a quick look at them there as their characters in Shazam. We also got a little bit more of them actually in action, but I just wanted to put one picture up as a reference point.
Also, while the picture is up, I will just say that Helen Mirren straight up looks like Granny Goodness right out of DC. like forget whoever character she is. Like if Helen Mirren was Granny Goodness in the DC universe, I'm here for it because look at that picture of her right now.
Fair enough. Also, was that Oberon in the Suicide Squad trailer when he was like naming their names and stuff like that? Was that little Oberon? Who was the diminutive guy with the beard? Was that Oberon?
I didn't think it was Oberon,
okay.
But it was a little diminutive guy, so maybe.
I'm just throwing it out there. It wasn't Puck. That's Marvel. What did you think, Shannon? What do you think about the what we got here in this Fury of the Gods trailer? We didn't see much from the Marvel family, but we did see them kind of moving around. And then we saw certainly Helen Mirren moving around and Lucy Liu as well. Did you like what we got? Does it get you into it? We didn't see Rachel Zegler, but was this enough to get you excited for a sequel?
I think you got a quick little bit of Rachel Zegler. Where it looked like she was just kind of sitting down to chat.
Oh, maybe that's what it was. Yeah, sorry about that.
I mean, the movie doesn't come out until February 2023. So next Fandome, we're going to be talking about the extended trailer that we got for Shazam: Fury of the Gods. I mean, I thought the first Shazam movie is really cute, really sweet. I do think there's sort of a kind of a chasm in between Billy Batson and Shazam right now. That was something that didn't quite match up. That Zach Levi's, he was just so different. But now that you have like the whole Marvel family, I love how the Rock of Eternity looked, how they have kind of decked it out as their lair. I thought that was super cool. And really like going into the Greek mythology, I mean, they're kind of going into a territory that I presumed at some point Wonder Woman would have gone into, that we would have seen more of these creatures from Greek mythology. And I think it's an untapped resource. So like if Wonder Woman's not going there, good for Shazam, for the Shazam people that they are.
When does Black Adam come out?
Next July.
Yeah.
So Black Adam is July. Fury of the Gods is the following February.
Yes.
So, like, the real question is, does Black Adam affect Fury of the Gods? Like, I think this is where, like, those DC questions really come into play, where it's like, well, look, Black Adam is a Shazam, not a Shazam villain, like the Shazam villain.
Yeah.
So it's like it's like the equivalent of saying you have Man of Steel, you have a Lex Luthor movie, and then you have a Man of Steel 2. The Lex Luthor movie should really affect Man of Steel 2. So is Black Adam going to be in play in Fury of the Gods? Like, is what happens in Black Adam going to lead to why Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu are there? Or is The Rock going to show up in the movie? Like, that's going to be really, really interesting to see.
Yeah. Someone put up, the Nerds of Color put up a thing. I think they put up a picture of the kids from Shazam, the small young kids from Shazam going, these are the people that Black Adam is going to face? Are you kidding me right now? I was like, no. There's a Shazam 2 picture of them grown up. That's who the Marvel family is for sure. All right. Before we jump into the Batman, just want to remind you all to please hit a like on this video. We're at 333 likes. So we're close to 400. We got 450 of you all watching us right now. Michael, what were you going to say?
Right before we jump into the Batman, I do have to give a shout out to the Young Justice panel.
Oh, please. Please go ahead.
The fact that
we're only jumping this quick because you said we weren't going too slow. So go ahead.
All I said was I needed to make another drink. Now I have a drink and I'm good. All I'm saying is the big fun of the Young Justice panel was that they surprised everybody by saying that the first 2 episodes of season 4 were already dropped on HBO Max. If you haven't gone out and checked them out, you absolutely should. If you're a Young Justice fan, the first 2 episodes are awesome. As someone who I think I can now say this, who has written on Young Justice season 4, I've read all the scripts and I know how awesome it's going to get. So it's super fun to me to watch them fully animated, even though I know it's going to happen. But this first arc dives you right back in, right where season 3 ended. Picks things right back up a little, like a year later. There are some big things happening in Young Justice. It's super cool. So I just wanted to shout it out because I'm a big Young Justice fan as a fan and as someone who now gets to write on the show.
That's cool. Shannon, anything on Young Justice?
Yeah, I was just as happy to see that the first 2 episodes had dropped. I watched them last night.
Okay. I'm going to have to catch up. What did you think?
I enjoyed it. Definitely went in a direction I wasn't expecting. Yeah, I don't want to say anything. Just in case. I don't want to give anything away.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. I liked it.
Have you, John, did you watch season 3 yet, or do you need to catch up on season 3?
I've got to catch up with season 3 for sure.
I'm so jealous of you. Young Justice is so great. Young Justice is up there like with Avatar and Korra as a series that I kind of just really enjoy going back to the very beginning and just going through because it's so tightly serialized. Shannon and I were just working on a project and we were discussing some things with Greg Weisman, who worked on Young Justice, and just like the way his brain works and the way that he builds out these super complicated stories. When you get to watch his brain sort of working as he's putting things together, it's a blast. It's so much fun. So it's super fun to see how that all executes on Young Justice. And like I said, as someone who knows where the season is going, y'all have no idea.
Was it a fun meeting? Was it a good meeting?
It was a very good meeting.
You guys have a good time talking production stuff. Cool.
We did.
All right, let's move on to the next thing here. Jesus
maybe if you listen to me when I talk in Geek Buddies, you would hear some things, but apparently you don't. So
why change our relationship now? Catwoman Hunted. I do want to give a quick shout out to Catwoman Hunted. I loved this trailer. I'm not really one that always leans over to the animated stuff, but I thought this trailer was great and good to see such a diverse cast doing the voices as well. So I'm down with this. This felt like a fun approach. This almost felt like a Harley Quinn-y approach, if I can say that a little bit, as they did with the animated series to Catwoman. A little more sarcastic, a little more of the comments thrown through, a little more of the badassery, a little more of the cocky confidence. And the way she's going about this. So this looked like a lot of fun. Having Stephanie Beatrice playing Batwoman, that's awesome. I love her as a voiceover person, as an on-camera actress. So great to see her being part of this animated film was cool. What did you guys think?
Well, it's another Greg Weisman script, so
100% really?
I'm excited about it. Yeah. But yeah, I thought the trailer was great. I loved the anime vibe of it. I I thought the Injustice trailer was super cool, and I love the Injustice story and how hard the Injustice story goes. But I think I like the vibe and the art direction of this trailer a lot more than I liked the Injustice art direction that I saw.
Okay. Shan?
Love the interplay between the characters. I'm not as into the anime style.
Right.
So, but I did, I did enjoy the interplay between the characters. I thought that was really strong.
Right. Absolutely. God, Shannon. You were in Tokyo. You literally did. I don't know what your problem is with the anime. Let's make some quick.
I was in Osaka. It's
okay. Sorry, Osaka. You were in Japan is what I meant to say. Sorry. But that is coming in February of 2022. Also, Constantine, Teen Titans Go, Battle of the Super Sons, and Batman The Long Halloween Deluxe Edition. I finished part 1 last night. I didn't know it was on HBO Max. Just stumbled on it last night randomly. And so I'm going to enjoy part 2 as well. I hope I'm going to enjoy part 2. But I liked part 1. Yes, it's slow. It's languid. But I like that, actually, because it kept my interest pursuing this, and it's one of my favorite stories, so it was nice to kind of see it through this animated lens myself personally. So shout out to my brother, or to our brother Tim Sheridan, for sure. Let's see, quick announcements here. Winston Duke is apparently doing a Spotify based audio project in the Batman universe. He is going to be Batman. Holy shit, that is awesome. Batman and Puma are collaborating for a soccer shoe, I guess, or a football shoe. It's weird. Batgirl is getting a full-length feature. Leslie Grace is playing Barbara Gordon, but they're not saying whether this is animated or live action. So that's
live action.
Yeah,
I think it's live action.
Oh, there it is.
It's live action.
Here we go. It's a live action project. There we go. I'm reading these things in real time as they're having. Titans and Doom Patrol got season 4 got announced for season 4's. Okay. We had a Harley Quinn sizzle reel for season 3. Batman Caped Crusader. Bruce Timm coming back. What'd you think of this?
I'm really excited about this. Is where Kalinowski and I got in a discussion.
Okay.
Kalinowski thinks that the animated series My Adventures with Superman is the light, fluffy animated show for me, and that the Cape Crusader from J.J. Abrams, Matt Reeves, and Bruce Timm is for him. I corrected him and informed him that, in fact, both shows were for me, and that I have more varied tastes than he does. But it's super, super cool. They showed a little bit of new character art for My Adventures with Superman, which looks like a super fun new take on the Superman Lois Jimmy Olsen dynamic. And then Bruce Timm with Cape Crusader kind of came out and said, which I thought was really, really interesting, that with this new version, it's kind of what Batman the Animated Series should have been. In that in the 90s, when they did Batman the Animated Series, we didn't have a platform for adult animation. So Batman the Animated Series kind of went as far as it could go at the time, but that now we live in an era where they can do a show that does what they wanted Batman the Animated Series to do, because we're allowed to go that far. Right. And I thought that really, really interested me. So to be able to see sort of this new version that is kind of like from the mind of Batman the Animated Series creator Bruce Timm, with a little bit of J.J. Abrams, Matt Reeves influence thrown in, like, I'm so stoked for that. I can't even tell you. Like, I think it sounds great.
Shen, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I thought the idea of Bruce Timm being able to go back and kind of do the things that he wasn't allowed to do with Batman the Animated Series, I think sounds really, really, really cool.
Me too.
The art, I thought the art for what is it, My Adventures with Superman? Yeah, I thought it looked very, very cute.
Did you? Because it's anime influenced, and I know you just said you don't like anime influences, so I'm just curious.
Wow.
Well, they were still images. It's when they move. It's when they move that I got problems.
All right. My God. Fair.
All right. Let's see here. What else we got? Okay, Ava DuVernay has joined DC to work on an adaptation of DMZ with Rosario Dawson. That's going to be a limited series. That's pretty awesome stuff. We also got the announcement that Benjamin Bratt and Hoon Lee are going to co-star in the HBO Max series as well with Rosario Dawson. Also, Casey Walfall, this is something that Michael mentioned a little bit ago, will star in Naomi McDuffie in the adaptation of Naomi on the CW. So curious to see what that's going to be like, Mike?
No, just if you haven't picked up the Brian Michael Bendis Naomi, I think it's like 5 or 6 issues, and then she shows up in Justice League and a couple other areas. But as just sort of a standalone superhero story, it's pretty awesome. So I highly recommend checking out Naomi as a comic. It's an easy read. You can read it in one afternoon. It's really, really fun, and it makes me really intrigued to see what the series is going to be.
Fair enough. All right, Shannon, any thoughts on that, or you move forward?
I mean, okay. it is for the CW, right? I mean, if this is sort of the new direction, like if this is more along the Superman and Lois vibe, I'm certainly curious. Even though Superman and Lois, not my jam.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well, you don't know that because you haven't watched it yet.
I watched one episode.
And more black-led superhero shows on CW would be nice. I mean, we had the cancellation of Black Lightning, which sucks. So, but having Naomi kind of come in is good. Now let's have more. And you know what? Latinos can lead shows too. Just letting you know. And then we had a Wonder Woman 80th anniversary package here where Patty Jenkins was interviewing Linda Carter, and they announced together that there is going to be a Wonder Woman 3 coming with Gal Gadot, with Patty Jenkins, and with Linda Carter. So it's kind of a big a bunch of news here. Also, there's going to be a TikTok challenge for Wonder Woman, the 80th anniversary of Wonder Woman, which is coming up October 21st, so very soon next week.
I feel like as soon as they announced it, since I live in West Hollywood, they were like, we're going to do a TikTok challenge where we want you to spin like Wonder Woman. And I feel like I heard like 1,000 people scream at the same time in West Hollywood. Like they were like, yes. And so we'll see what happens.
We'll do the TikTok challenge. So great, good stuff. Are you excited for a Wonder Woman 3? I mean, I love Linda Carter. I love her as Wonder Woman. Did that moment work for me at the end of the movie? It didn't. So I'm not excited for Wonder Woman 3 necessarily, but I am excited to have Patty Jenkins back to kind of helm this third installment and hopefully do a better job than Wonder Woman 1984 overall. The film itself, not her as a director, the film itself do a better job than Wonder Woman 1984 did overall. Gentlemen?
I mean, for me personally, I think Wonder Woman is the best DC movie that has come out so far.
The first one.
Right. Wonder Woman 84 is not.
Right.
But so she's at like a 50-50. So like I'm willing to give her the odds on a Wonder Woman 3. Like I'm still at the point where I'm like, look, you gave us Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman is great. Wonder Woman 84, not my jam, but I'm willing to give you the third one and let's see what happens.
Yeah, is this a Matrix situation, Shannon, where we have the first film, but then the next two just don't quite live up to that first film, and they lose their way? Do you think we'll get that in the third film?
No, I mean the Matrix comparison specifically, because I think whatever Wonder Woman 3 is, it's not going to be set in the 80s. I don't think they're going to be as linked as Reloaded and Revolutions were.
Fair.
As Vogel said, I mean, she's batting 500 right now. I mean, I do agree that Wonder Woman is the best DC movie thus far, and I was not a huge fan of Wonder Woman 84. I know quite a few folks did really enjoy it, but hopefully they heard some of the storytelling critique and are able to take that feedback and make a better third movie, at least for me.
Yeah. I'd like to correct Jessie Banana. She said, Wonder Woman 2 was so disappointing, it made me feel betrayed. I saw it blindly because I trusted you. I never said it was going to be good. I didn't. I just said the trailers look good. I think we all just said the trailers look good. So yeah, there you go. But thank you, Jesse. I appreciate it. And all right, we're rounding into the last section of the show here. Please feel free to send in your last Streamlabs and Superchats. You see the Streamlabs address rolling down beneath. It's also in the description of the video and in the chat pin there. So send them in now. We'll answer them as we wrap up here. I think that was all. Oh, Pennyworth is getting a season 3. It's coming exclusively to HBO Max in 2022. Have you guys watched Pennyworth?
No.
Anything? Okay.
I have no opinion on Pennyworth, but I do want to mention really quick before we move on that we do have, we saw a little bit more footage for Super Pets as well.
Really? That's what we're stopping the show for? All right, cool.
I just wanted to mention that we saw it.
It was another 58-second trailer. Could we put those two together? Give me a 2-minute trailer? Is that possible?
Well, we know what the movie is now. It's like every Rock and
Kevin Hart.
Thank you. It's like every Rock and Kevin Hart movie that we've seen. Like that's what the movie is, and like I'm cool for that to be a Crypto Ace the Bat Hound movie.
Fair enough. Simon Section says, just to let you Geek Buddies know, I listen to you on my Fridays on my work schedule. A great way to spend before my day off. This is a blessing. Thank you. You are a blessing. Thank you, Simon. Appreciate it madly. We do appreciate it. All right, let's see. Anything else? No, that's it. Well, there's apparently there's a Crisis on Infinite Earths. Is this what they seem like? Well, Jim Lee is doing a 16-part connected panels tribute to Crisis on Infinite Earths. So that's coming out. That's been announced as well.
It's pretty cool. I mean, I think they announced like they've been like releasing the images one by one, and they kind of released the final images at Fandome. And like, look, Jim Lee drawing anything is worthy of mention because holy shit, he's Jim Lee, and it looks pretty epic.
Okay. Shannon, anything to mention?
No.
Okay, cool. Thanks so much. All right.
Actually, Frank here in the chat does mention this. Like when they did announce all of the DC animated movies come up, they did announce that we're getting a Super Son CGI movie. And yes, Frank, I was as excited about that as you are because I will say that Jonathan Kent and Damian Wayne, I would go so far as to say I think they might be the two greatest things that DC has added to the DC universe in the past decade that I think are going to help them moving forward. I think that those two characters are huge, and giving them a CG movie and also seeing what Warner Brothers Animation does with CG in their kind of direct-to-DVD releases, I'm super, super intrigued by.
Well, I think you remember when we were talking about Catwoman Hunted, I mentioned Battle of the Super Sons, so clearly we both don't listen to each other. All right, thank you, Frank. I appreciate you chiming in there. All right, let's jump into this. Oh, yeah, this is a good question, real quick. Review King... I think he's passing out. Review King MB says, isn't it weird that Gal Gadot wasn't there for the 80-year anniversary? Yeah, do you guys think that was weird?
Well, Patty Jenkins did mention, like, didn't she just have another baby or something?
If you follow her social media, she's been showing the baby dances and stuff she's doing. Yeah, she just had another baby, true.
So, you know, she got Fandome off. Grant Gustin did not.
Yeah.
No,
maybe she was babysitting both their babies, hers and Grant's.
Solid theory.
I think Wonder Woman would do that. I'll be fair here. All right, so let's jump into this thing. The granddaddy of them all. They ended DC Fandome. We've gotten to it after 2 hours, a little over 2 hours on this show. The Batman. The trailer dropped. And this one, we got way more of Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman. We got to see the scope, a little more of the wider scope with which Matt Reeves is approaching this story. Colin Farrell was a standout in this trailer, as well as the Penguin. Got to hear him speak, got to hear him do some action. Whoa! We got to see him do all kinds of stuff, which was really fun. And we got some shots of Jim Gordon. We start out with the Paul Dano and the Riddler thing in the coffee, which was really cool. And then we see this moment of Pattinson slamming his arm into this divider there between him and Paul Dano, and him saying, I was trying to get your attention. So definitely, as we said very earlier, very much a combo of Seven and The Crow. Michael, this one, I think I was speechless for about 5 to 8 seconds. That's hard for me after I watched this trailer. What was your reaction as you were watching this trailer?
Well, you know me, I'm never speechless.
Truth.
But no, I really liked it. I really liked the trailer a lot. I think that stylistically, I thought it was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was just a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous trailer. Almost in a way, like it didn't feel like a Batman trailer. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean that the style of this movie, and kind of like what I said earlier on, in the episode where I was just saying that like it felt sort of gritty and greasy and dirty, and just like it had this vibe to it that was so its own thing. And I think that was to the benefit of the trailer. Like I just think it feels like a really interesting movie to me, separate from the Batman of it all. And I think that was what was really, really cool about it. I also think this is a weird kind of thing, and I don't know if anybody else, if you agree, say so in the chat, but I think the most interesting thing to me was that for some reason in this trailer, Robert Pattinson's eyes were more expressive in the bat cowl than any other actor's eyes have been in the bat cowl. And I don't know why. I don't know what it was about the bat cowl. I don't know what it was about his eyes, but like this Batman in the full costume just felt way more expressive than other Batmans in the past have. They're like John's pulling up a picture right now where he's sort of kind of in the prison talking to, I assume it's Paul Dano, but like the eyes are just they pop in a way that they didn't before, which kind of made Batman feel way more intense and way more expressive. And I think that sort of speaks to the whole trailer. Like as Batman was more intense and more expressive, the entire trailer felt more intense and more expressive. Like I don't really know what's going on in this movie. I don't exactly know what the story is. I have some thoughts. I have some theories on it, but it just felt dirty. Like it just felt like this movie was going to drag you through the mud in a way that even Dark Knight didn't really drag you through the mud.
Well, he certainly looks dragged through the mud here. So it's a fair point you bring up there, Michael, with the look of it. Shannon, as I cycle through some of these shots here, I mean, this was a great way, this upside down shot to end the trailer. We have this shot on top of the rooftop there, kind of looking down across the entire city. By the way, that's Liverpool. They shot in Liverpool, so it's won my heart even more so that they shot in Liverpool. What did you think when you watched this trailer? What was your reaction? How many times have you watched it since it dropped yesterday? What's your feeling overall walking away from this trailer?
I mean, it seems like this new version of Batman, they're really delving into the psyche of Bruce Wayne further than previous versions have. I mean, how they talked about this is kind of Batman Year 2. This is the guy who started the mission, and you're starting to see, I don't know, it almost looks like you're starting to see the cracks in the foundation of like how much of a toll this is taking on him. I mean, and you get a lot of that from the very brief appearances we get of Andy Serkis as Alfred. One, I love the look of Serkis as Alfred. I thought he looked amazing. I also like that they're exploring this dynamic between Batman and Selina that we haven't really gotten yet in the movies. Like in terms of the feature films, like both of the previous versions of Selina Kyle have been good. I mean, Anne Hathaway's, like, it was not in a movie that I enjoyed, but I thought she was fantastic. And, Michelle Pfeiffer kind of was the standard. But this new version, you're getting, it just seems different. This seems more like a comics accurate version of Bruce and Selina. Loved Colin Farrell.
Oh my God.
Just I got you.
Well, how is this the same person? How is this the same person?
That is insane. That is absolutely insane. I mean, I don't know how many of our audience watched The Gentleman, the Guy Ritchie movie that came out last year before, 2019, I think, or January 2020. Anyways, he plays such a crazy character in that, and then hearing that he was going to play the Penguin, I just sort of assumed he would be English, the way that he kind of portrays this character in the Gentleman, and it's so not that, but still so freaking cool. I mean, Colin Farrell as the character actor is so much fun to watch. I mean, I enjoyed the trailer immensely. I mean, this does not look like the type of Batman movie that they're going to be selling a lot of Happy Meals from.
Oh no!
But it was still just awesome.
Yeah, this is the culmination of being a Batman fan. In '89, that was dark for '89. When Christopher Nolan came out, that was dark for that time. This is dark for our time. And it's so reflective of our society. This is the Batman that we're looking. This is a Year 2 Batman. This is a Batman who's struggling with his own inner demons, as Shannon pointed out. This is a dirty, grimy Batman, as Michael spoke about. And what's the journey here? The standout from the trailer, because you got to sell the villains in Batman. Always, with any movie, you got to sell the villains. Zoe Kravitz, an anti-hero type character approach, certainly. And I agree with Shannon. There's more here than we've ever had before. It's not played like it's played with the Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman, or even with the Anne Hathaway Catwoman. It's more playful, more kind of like, this thing kind of thing. This feels like the banter is very serious about what they're talking about, what they're going to, and there feels like there's genuine affection here between them, which could carry some weight in the movie as well. And then you get to the Penguin, and this, as you said, Shannon, The Gentleman, it is a brilliant, I love that movie, and Colin Farrell steals that movie. Having him play this is such in his wheelhouse. I'm sure he was excited as fuck to disappear into the makeup and play a character like this. So much so that we talked about on Geek Buddies a couple episodes ago. They're looking at doing a spin-off series where he plays the Penguin possibly, and he's the central part of this. So he must have really enjoyed it. But overall, I think what came through to me is the artistry of Matt Reeves. How serious of an approach he took as an artist. I don't mean the overall context of the movie. I mean the approach he took, because the cinematography here is outstanding. The shots are jaw-dropping. The action is unsettling and in your face and intimate and brutal. And then that ending of him upside down, the Penguin looking at the specter, the fear of Batman. And he has that moment, Robert Pattinson, where he says, "I am vengeance." And it's so well done. Plus the Batmobile, just all of it really working for me as a muscle car. Essentially, this movie is a muscle slamming into your face. And I kind of appreciate that, along with the fact we have this serial killer aspect to it. Mikey?
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. I mean, I think Zoe Kravitz said it when they were doing the sort of kind of panel before the trailer, where she said that, and this is very much Selena Kyle circa year one into year two, and kind of who Selena Kyle is, which is this whole idea that like Selena Kyle is trying to do good by the people that the city has looked over.
Yeah.
And that's who she is, and that she tried to really bring that reality to the role. And like Michelle Pfeiffer's goals are very singular in the Batman Returns movie, and even Anne Hathaway, who gets a little bit more towards that Selena Kyle, is still more out for herself. She's trying to find the way to sort of kind of clear her own record. Right. So if Zoe Kravitz is a character who's trying to more help the people that can't help themselves, and just based on what we've seen of the Riddler thus far, and some of the hints in the trailer, sins of the father, those kind of things that are thrown out there, it really does seem like they're trying to set the stage for Thomas Wayne maybe not being as perfect as Bruce maybe thinks he is, and that's part of what Bruce is dealing with in this movie, or what the Riddler is forcing Bruce to deal with. Like, it really seems like this is a moment where Bruce has decided to go down this road, and now the Riddler is there to sort of challenge his perceptions of why he's doing what he's doing. Yeah. And to have Selena Kyle there, that makes sense. And then to have Oswald Cobblepot there as just sort of kind of the representation of organized crime itself. Yeah. There's just it. You know, we talk about this a lot. Like the second that Batman movies back in the day started introducing two villains, there was really quickly this whole thing like, whoa, that was too much. You can't put two villains in a movie. Yeah. And then Christopher Nolan came along and in Batman Begins put multiple villains in a movie, and we're like, oh, no, you can do it. And then Marvel came along and put 3,000 characters in a movie, and you're like, all right, well, fuck, that worked. And so now with Matt Reeves coming in and going, all right, well, we've got the Riddler, we've got the Penguin, and we've got Catwoman, but it definitely feels like there's an underlying story, that there's a reason that you need all of these perspectives. And that's what I really appreciate. That's what I get really excited about.
That's an excellent point you make, Mike, for sure. The multiple points of views and the multiple people involved in this, what's their approach to what's happening? What's that? You know, because almost like when Michael Caine has that speech in Dark Knight, right? You know, some people just want to watch the world burn and tells the story of what he experienced. It's this kind of approach as well. Everyone's going to have their opinion of why what's happening is happening, and how Bruce Wayne, aka Batman, is responding to what's happening as it's happening as well, and how that's affecting him in this situation. Shannon, anything more to say on this?
Well, I mean, I really liked when you look at the history of the Batman movies and you look at the evolution of the Batmobile for each respective kind of version, that with the Keaton Batman, like that was very much like a comic book Batmobile. You know, it's not really practical. With the Nolan version, you get the military vehicle. You look at the resources that Bruce Wayne has, and it's like, well, of course, you know, Wayne Industries, or Wayne Tech. What is the kind of Wayne? I can't remember.
Wayne Enterprises.
Wayne Enterprises. Thank you. His company. Well, of course, they would have military contracts, so you know he would have access to this crazy vehicle. Whereas this one, I mean, this is kind of a teched down version of Batman. Like this is literally, he has a giant computer screen set up in his, you know, kind of new version of the Batcave. He has a super souped up muscle car with like a jet engine on the back. I mean, it's a really interesting way in a way that we've not seen on the big screen way to approach way to approach Batman. And also, I mean, when he's fighting that gang and you see he's basically got like a stun gun and he's electrocuting a guy. I mean, this is the way one guy can take on 10 people, is being an absolute brawler, but also having a stun gun in his glove.
And he's getting shot at point blank range, and it's just going off him. And then, like you said, Shannon, electrocuting the dude. It's fantastic. He's not making any quips like, I'm not wearing hockey pads. He's just absolutely handling business from one scene to the next as he goes along. So it's going to be fun to see. And what do we think about this as the Riddler's flag kind of approach there? We also see a God's eye view of stuff on the ground as a message. So do you like that they're turning the Riddler, who has been at times a bit of a comical character, even in Kingdom Come, he's a little bit of a comical character. Do you like the fact that they're taking this twist and turn with him, kind of like they did with the Penguin in Gotham? Do you like that they're doing this with the Riddler? And Paul Dano, we haven't seen him speak. We've heard him, but we haven't seen him speak. So do you like that they're hiding him as well so far?
Yeah, I mean, I'm super into it. Like, I really think that taking the Riddler and going down that really creepy road is a great version that we haven't seen before. Like, look, I don't like Batman Forever, but I like Jim Carrey's Riddler. I think it's Jim Carrey, and it's very much the Riddler. And I like the Riddler that we saw in Batman the Animated Series. I think I've liked the Riddler a lot of times in the comics. Like, Edward Nygma can be a really even Gotham in the early days, I thought what they were doing with Riddler was kind of interesting. So I think Edward Nygma is a really interesting character, but we've never seen this version.
Yeah.
And I think that that's great. Like, we should want to see a new take on Riddler. I don't need to see a guy in a green suit with purple question marks and a bowler hat. Particularly not in this world. Like, this is such a dark, dirty, gritty, greasy world. Like, I want to see this Riddler that's going to just like, and also, again, back to my original point, like, I want a villain that is going to challenge Batman in a way that I've not seen before. And if this new version of the Riddler is using what he's doing to sort of fuck with Batman, or whether he knows that Batman is Bruce Wayne, or he's challenging like Thomas Wayne did this, like whatever is going on here in this movie, I think that's interesting, and it's something we've not seen on screen before.
Yeah. Shan?
Yeah, totally agree. I think, you have to adapt the characters for the type of story that you're telling. And when you really think about the Riddler's approach to crime, I guess, and what kind of mind comes up with these riddles. I mean, it's someone that, possibly could be a very, very broken person, that this is their obsession, is to basically call out this hero in a way like I think it's really, really interesting. And the fact that, he's got his green windbreaker that he's drawn a question mark on. I mean, I think that totally works for the world that they seem to be setting up.
Yeah, agreed. I'm looking forward to the Lego version of this trailer. I love the Lego version of trailers that they do sometimes. Those are great. I want to see the dark Lego version of this trailer. One last thing to give love to my brother Tushka, who pointed out that he thinks Penguin looks like Bill Belichick, the coach of the New England Patriots. I can maybe see it a little bit. I don't know if I 100% agree with him, but I think that's more the fact that he's a Kansas City Chiefs fan and he's upset that the Patriots are still doing their thing. All right, so there we go. I think that's a good place to end. We do have one last Streamlab that came through, or two of them actually. Philly G just donated. Thank you, Philly-G. I appreciate it. We appreciate it. And Timothy R. Williams saying, yes, just got off work to say good day to the buddies. Buddies intro, good day. Oh, there you go. All right, thanks.
I'll say that's good. I think you probably did it better at home than John did, but I'll give it to you.
You know what? I've been talking for 2 fucking hours. I'm a little tired. All right, that's it. We're done. Let's get on out of here. All right, gentlemen, one last thing. What final thoughts on DC Fandome as we kind of put this to bed, look forward to things that are coming? Final thoughts on the whole 4-hour experience. And look, we spent over 2.5 hours talking about all that they dropped here. What did you all think as a overall as we look at it now?
Look, this is something that I hope they continue to do. It came at such a needed time last year during 2020 that it was just it was one of the highlights of 2020 for me, was getting to sit down on my laptop and just go through all these characters and these projects that I'm so excited for. And I feel like they did a great job, and I'm curious what Fandome 2022 is going to look like.
Fair enough. Mikey?
I think, yeah, like I said earlier, like I think anyone who listens to the show knows that I'm a very big fan of Marvel's interconnected universe. But I'll say that what I took out of this DC Fandome, which I think is good, is that I want DC to put their foot down. I want them to put their stake in the ground. I want them to plant their flag and say, this is what we are. And if that is not an interconnected universe like Marvel, I'm 100% okay with it. I think they have so much good stuff in the works. And there's so much potential in what they have. And like watching DC Fandome this weekend just made me excited about that potential. And I hope they don't squander it. And I hope they don't pussyfoot around it. I hope they don't try and emulate anybody else. I want them to just decide what the fuck they want to be and say, this is who we are and this is what the DC universe is, and do it. And if they do it with confidence and they execute it with amazing creative teams, I think we'll all be there for it. I think that the biggest complaint that I have is that I think creatively, maybe they haven't been as up to snuff as they could have been. And I think that they have the best IP. I think they have the greatest characters. I think this DC Fandome really showed that off. And I just really, really want them to execute on it.
I think those are excellent words from both of you, for sure. All I'll add is this. This is a blueprint. If you're a studio, this is a blueprint. This is how you do it. Follow along to what they're doing, and they made themselves distinct from Marvel in how they presented their stuff when Marvel does their events and what have you, which I really appreciated. So for all whether you're 100% on board with what DC is doing or not, they certainly put their best foot forward here in the overall appearance and presentation. And hopefully other studios take a look at this and follow suit themselves as best they can. All right. Thanks to everybody who joined us here live tonight. This was a lot of fun going through everything. And I always love geeking out with the buddies, with my brothers in life there in geekery. So we had a really great time. Thanks for all the Streamlabs, Super Chats, and all the conversation in the chat. Holy crap. We're 16 likes away from 400. So get us to 400 likes, for God's sakes. 1,600. Michael?
Do it! Come on, guys. Get in there.
Sorry, I thought you wanted to yell at them or something. There you go. Yeah, there you go. 16 more likes. Hit that like button. Let's cross 400 as we're saying goodbye to you all. And please remember, we have our show that dropped that's out now. Our most recent Geek Buddies is out there as well. All of our reviews for What If are out there on the Geek Buddies for you to listen to or to watch here on the Outlaw Nation channel. All this stuff is up. And Shannon, what do we have to tell them if they want to follow us on social media?
Yeah, if you'd like to follow us on social media, on Twitter, it's @geek_buddies. On Instagram, @the_geek_buddies. If you would like to follow me on social media, on Twitter, it's @Shannon_McClung. On Instagram, @Shannon the Geek Buddy. If you would like to follow Mr. Vogel, it is @MKToon. If you would like to follow Mr. Rocha, it is @TheRocha_Says.
Mikey?
Look, I got asked out on 4 dates tonight while I was on this podcast talking live about DC Fandome. And if you want to make it worth it for me, then we need to get more people into this thing. We need more people listening. We need more people geek buddying it up with us so that I can say no to these dates. So here is what I need you to do. I need you to smash this like button. I want 16 more likes to get to 400. I want you to subscribe to John's Outlaw Nation page so he gets all the subscribers.
Please.
You guys have been awesome in the chats. I need you guys commenting below. What did you think of DC Fandome? What were your favorite things? What were your least favorite things? What do you think is awful? What do you think is amazing? If you are listening to us now on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever podcasts are downloaded, I need you to leave some stars. I need you to leave us some comments. I need you to tell everybody in the world how awesome we are so that we go up in the rankings. And the best thing that you guys can do is share this video, post it, retweet it, put it up on your socials, tell everybody to check out the Geek Buddies so that we get more Geek Buddies into our conversation.
Yeah. Very well said, Michael. Very well said. A DC Fandome should happen every week, and I'll tell you this right now. I went from 18,300 subscribers just 2 days ago to 18,631 subscribers. So listen, come aboard, as Michael said. Subscribe to the channel and hit that bell button. The bell button lets you know when we drop all the content, when we do it on the Outlaw Nation channel, all the Geek Buddies content, all the Outlaw Nation content is all there. So when you subscribe, hit that bell button. Just want to make sure. I just want to reiterate that. And also make sure you download our podcast. Go and subscribe, goddamn, and leave us some reviews. Did Michael already say that? I guess he did. All right, thanks everybody. We appreciate it.
He doesn't listen. He doesn't listen.
I'm
glad you guys listen. I'm looking in the chats. We got to 400. You guys listen.
Yeah. Woo! Did we really? Yes. 402. Thank you all so much. You guys are awesome. All right, let's go to bed. You guys are incredible. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode, another brand new review, or another brand new live recap here from the
Geek. Shannon, what are you doing?
What are you doing right now, Shannon?
What are you doing, Shannon?
Shannon,
give us some buddies. What are you doing?
You okay? Oh no, his ears went out. All right, say buddies. Say buddies. Say buddies.
The Geek
Buddies!
That's a perfect ending.
My AirPods died.
There you go. All right, bye.